forgot to put myself in the box, in the StreamYard box. Hi guys, happy Saturday. Nice to see you all here. So this episode of High Strangeness, as you might have seen from Twitter, crazy week, didn't have a chance to prepare anything. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just cancel. But on the other hand, I'm like, you know what? We're a community. Let's just get together and chat and hang out. So why not? Let's see who's in the chat tonight. And is anybody in Vegas? Vegas is this weekend, right? Is anybody chatting in? I don't know. Let's say streaming in, chatting in from Vegas tonight. Hey, Vision Null, and it is now. Torin, My Online Ghost. Oh, Bobby Hexelrod. Nice to see you, Bobby Hexelrod. Hex Force One, Mr. Okel, Insidious Tomas, Maddie Allen. So nice seeing you guys tonight. Thank you all for being here. Because you know what? Now that I think about it, I think it is the Vegas weekend. So I appreciate that you guys still made it onto the live stream tonight. Hey, Russ, how's it going? So you're going to Vegas on Monday. Oh, so is that when it starts? For some reason, I guess I thought it was the entire Labor Day weekend. Okay, that's cool. So it sounded like, there was some challenges with that, but I'm glad it worked out and that people are still able to go out and get together. And yeah, I hope it goes well. I hope lots of networking happens, lots of new knowledge that's like shared with each other, and maybe on board a bunch of people in Vegas. So hope Vegas is amazing. Yes, shout out to Vegas. Let me go back through this live chat, make sure I haven't missed anything. Saturday night, yeah, or Saturday night strangeness, or Saturday night strange people. Are we strange people? I don't know. But you know what I've been thinking about lately? Roswell. I want to go to Roswell. Does that make me strange? But I just want to just like hang out there. And somebody had sent me pictures from there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I know it's kind of kitschy, touristy. I don't really know what there is to see out there. But I'm like, there's just something about it. I just want to hang out and I want to go to the McDonald's, even though I can't eat a lot of stuff from McDonald's. But I want to go to the McDonald's that looks like a UFO, and I want to go into like the cheesy touristy things. I don't know. I just want to. And it's in the middle of like nowhere. I've never been to a place that's like deserty in the middle of nowhere. I don't even think I've been to a middle of nowhere place in general. So that would be interesting. And no offense, I'm not anybody who's from there. I'm not calling your area in the middle of nowhere, but I've just heard that it's far away from any type of major cities. Bobby Hexelrod says, your wrenches are loyal. Lots of blue in the chat already. Yeah, thank you so much to my wrenches for showing up, even when I cannot show up on time. So thank you all for just being cool and being here anyway, and for being patient with me. Oh, thank you. Already busting 1.2K subs. I appreciate that. Yeah, I guess people tolerate me. I don't know, but thank you to all my subs and everybody in the chat, and to anybody who's watching the replay. So you are ready to get strange. Yeah. So what kind of strange stuff do you guys want to talk about? I've been kind of I'm trying to explore, I think it's called the Hegelian dialectic, because I saw something very intriguing on Twitter, and I think I need to repost it, but about there being, and I guess it's part of the Hegelian dialectic. I don't know enough to talk about it. I need to do the research on it yet, but it was this concept that, how it seems obvious that there's a new world order going on and coming. And even like now the government people have started using the term new world order, but that there's a counterfeit new world order and then a legit new world order. And the counterfeit is supposed to rile us up so that we accidentally accept the new world order. The real one is our savior. I'm like, whoa, that is wild. So maybe we'll dive into that a little bit tonight. Someone win $1 billion for the strangeness chat. Someone win $1 billion? What does that mean? Oh, was tonight like a Powerball or something? I didn't buy it. I should, well, now I'm pondering. I did buy a ticket for something the other night. Never checked it. I forgot. I just left it in my glove compartment. But because I was driving and I was tired. And I'm like, what'll wake me up? I was driving back downstate from upstate. I'm like, oh, let me buy a lottery ticket. Lot of Shemitah and Jubilee talk going on around, not just from Thoughts Child. Okay. That's, I think, I'm trying to think. Rosh Hashanah, is that September or October? Let me look. Rosh Hashanah 2022. Sunday, September 25th. Okay, no wonder. So it's happening sooner than later. And, from what it seems like, things are really going to kick off then. Because like before I even knew about what the Shemitah year and what everybody was saying about it, I already had the feeling, and based on everything else I had heard, that things were really going to go down and kick off this fall. And then when I heard that, I'm like, it completely makes sense. So Rosh Hashanah, September 25th. And also, when is the feast? Is it the Festival of the Booths? I forget. Because I think that also has a significance in this type of thing. Festival of Tabernacles. Okay, so when is that this year? Okay, Festival of the Tabernacles. Okay, Festival of the Tabernacles. Because in terms of that, Shemitah year and the end times prophecy, that holds a high significance. So let's see when it is this year. Now my Wi-Fi is deciding to be weird. Okay, let's see when it's happening this year. So Festival of the Tabernacles. I guess that's Sukkot. So it's the 19th through the 16th of October. So that also holds another significance, because I know people who are into, specifically trying to target certain aspects of end time prophecy and when Jesus will return. They say that and I don't know if this is accurate or not, because I'm like, when Jesus is going to return, he's going to return. So to me, I'm like, does it really make a difference whether we try to figure it out or not? But people say that if he's going to return, it's supposed to happen during the Festival of the Tabernacles. So every year around the Festival of the Tabernacles, which this year it's the 9th through the 16th, it looked like it said, people wait expectantly, seeing if that's when it's going to happen. So I think it's interesting, because I don't know enough about, how people interpret that, whether that's correct or not. But, it's interesting that all these events kind of fall together. Rosh Hashanah is right before that. Rosh Hashanah is starting the Shemitah year, and how it looks like the direction we're going in this fall. So, I think whether or not Jesus does return on the Festival of the Booths, I think it's going to be a very interesting festival this year, especially being right at the beginning of the Shemitah year. So I think it's definitely a time to be aware. And forgive me, I don't know enough to be able to speak about this, but I just think it's, I wish I can get somebody on who knows better about all those type of things. But I think it's, I think we're in for an interesting fall. And just everything lighting up in the world. I think another processing plant ended up catching on fire, right? And then we had that weird Biden speech the other night that seems like it's trying to trigger something. So we were headed in a weird direction. We already were, but especially now more than ever. Sorry, let me catch up on this chat. Am I in the bathroom? It's very nice in here. No, I am not in the bathroom. This is a closet area. Yeah, need to fix that. But it's a closet area, because honestly, I could probably put a wall right in front of this and make this a bigger walk-in closet, but it's like you turn a corner, it's like an L, and then there's a closet right there. So it gives me a nice little kind of corner for a cute setup. Kind of cute. I need to make it nice. Some people's got has really cute, cool setups with the LEDs and the really proper cameras. You know what they say? What is the saying? Like, you got to work with what you got. So I'm just working with the equipment that I have. I can't really do much more right now, but I'm like, all right, I'll roll with it, because they say if you're going to, if you're going to start something, don't wait until everything's perfect. Just do it. And that's definitely what I've done here. So Mr. Ogle says, oh, you're talking about the Vegas casinos. Yeah, somebody will win $1 billion for us. Yeah, definitely. Maybe, somebody go win $1 billion in Vegas. Is that even possible in Vegas? Yeah. And we'll divide it amongst each other as a donation to all of us high strangenessers. Oh, Maddie, I hope so. I hope that that's the direction we're headed in. It's, and that's the thing about Pulse and Pulse X. When we look at some pricing predictions, it was interesting because I saw somebody talk about it being $1 within a year or two, which is amazing. That would be incredible. I'd be quite content with that. I would be content with it being 50 cents. But, other people are saying it's impossible, especially because it would create billionaires. And that's what I can't wrap my brain around. Like, is it even possible to create that many billionaires? I feel like there's something in the system that has to cut that off. I mean, I'd love to be optimistic. I hope so. We'll see. So John Davis says the inevitable kingdom of God and the kingdom of Satan are on a collision course. Oh, for sure. And that's the hope we have, that good wins out in the end, that God wins out in the end. And I'm grateful for that, that no matter, when you have that faith, that no matter what happens, as bad as things get, that evil is not going to overcome God, that God wins in the end. So definitely they are on a collision course. And and especially if you believe we're in the end times. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know what I believe about that, but things are going to get worse because it's like evil is in its final throes. It knows it's not going to win, so it's going to try to take down everything with it. Randy Hilarski had some interesting insight on Cabana Crypto about Shemitah and Jubilee. Ooh, I'll have to check that out. Awesome. Thank you for the tip. Hi, Ada. Nice to see you. Hex Therapy Live. Is that a channel? I haven't heard of it. I'll have to check it out. I'm so behind on seeing certain channels. It's I always feel behind the 8 ball. Clintrons, hey Ash and crew, great streams. Cool to catch you live. Yeah, so cool to catch you live. I feel like I haven't seen you in a live chat. So yeah, so welcome if this is your first time in a live chat. Michael Parks, nice to see you. Just go with the green screen. I hate the green screen. And I just kicked my tripod. I set it up wrong so that the leg is under my table. I hate the green screen. And I also, maybe I've been traumatized by it on Zoom. Not traumatized, but I have dark hair, and which makes you kind of, if you don't light your hair properly with the green screen, you kind of fade into the background. And I don't have the equipment to really light myself well. So I just don't look right on green screen. And I know I'm just being vain, but it drives me nuts. So I love when you go on certain channels and they have, just a really interesting background and they have the LEDs going and everything. And eventually I'd like to get to that. I can't get into the green screen yet. Maybe eventually I will, but I don't like it. Yeah, but it's true. It is easier. It is the easier option. Oh, hey, Drix, no notification. It's a little testy. Maybe I've ticked off YouTube too sometimes with some of the things I say. And now they're starting to be like, So we will see. Insidious Tomas says the next bull run will last for a long while. The AI networks will wreck opportunity for the small investor. Interesting. So the next bull run will be I misread that. That makes sense. This next bull run will be the last for a long while. The AI networks will wreck opportunity for the small investor. You know what? I can totally see that because, first of all, at least we're in early before this next bull run, but I can see where it could be the last because in crypto, like I've always said, like all of you guys say, it's a threat. It's a threat to the system. It's the powers that be do not want us gaining our freedom from them. And unfortunately, it's like this paradox where to break free from their system, from their financial system too, you need money. I mean, technically there are other ways to do it, but it's kind of that paradox that you kind of need money to break free, to free yourself from them. You need to use their money. So they don't want us getting that opportunity to be able to build wealth, to break free from them and their control. So they are going to do everything possible to be able to make that not happen. So yeah, I totally am with you. They will wreck opportunity wherever they can. So we're in early, right? Is that what they say, pre-viral? I hope so. Maybe decorate for the holidays, some flashing lights or something. Yeah, maybe some creepy LEDs. I saw this cute little, I don't know how to pronounce it. When you read things, sometimes you don't know how to pronounce it, but Cthulhu. I saw this cute little Cthulhu statue on Amazon. I can't bring myself to buy it yet. But at some point I'm like, that would look kind of cool and kind of go with the vibe, and maybe put some orange lights out. But I'm like, I kind of have seen some ways to style things. Eventually take down my triggering vase. But for now, I feel like this is appropriate. For now, it's good enough. But yeah, but again, thanks guys for being here. And I'm sorry that tonight is nothing specifically prepared. But like I said, I love chatting with you guys. We are a community, so it's nice to be able to just share things back and forth with the community. And I want to find that tweet that was very interesting about the New World Order. Ticked off the YouTube, definitely. I feel like I don't even see anything like overt or blatant, but somehow things get picked up on, I'm thinking. Because I noticed that there was a point of time where I was growing pretty fast, and now it's kind of slowed down. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it can definitely be my fault. I'm not putting out good enough content. And I'm not putting out any other consistent content besides high strangeness. Or maybe even the tags I'm using is making YouTube not happy. So who knows? But like, man, at least we're here together, right? Oh, thank you. Okay, now you're being too nice to me, but thank you, Torin. Oh, that face, right? I like the little angry face. Yeah, I got another round ball up there, globe looking type face, but I'm gonna stick with the blue one because it looks like an ocean. Yeah, so but I'm gonna try to pull up that tweet. I want to read it to you. It was very interesting, and I will repost it. But let's get some opinions on it. So let me pull it up. Let's see if I can find it. I bookmarked it. I bookmarked way too much stuff. Especially if it's Ted Lasso related, then I'm totally booking it. Gosh, I gotta sift through this. Hopefully I sent it someone. Because all I'm seeing is The Conjuring, Ted Lasso, and weirdness. Found it. Okay. This was very interesting, this thread. And I will retweet it too. But let me just read it out to you guys because I want to get some perspectives on it. Maybe I should screen share it. But before I do, hold on, I want to read this. Nothing prepared. Okay, you feel time is speeding up for the last few years? I do, and the world is becoming more and more downhill. Let me tell you, world, yeah, definitely is taking a turn. And I was just discussing this with someone today. It's weird. These past 2 years, time feels very strange. Now, time feels odd because, in one way, it feels like another life. It feels like so long ago, pre-2020. But on the other hand, it just feels like the years are moving fast. And I know that people like to say, okay, as you get older, everything feels like it moves faster. But I don't mean like that. I just mean just the sense of time is warped. And I don't mean like in a mystical way somebody's messing with time or anything. I just mean like things are weird. And I think sometimes the circumstances in society become kind of like a type of programming, and I've talked in the past about how it seemed like they somehow reset our clocks through, reset our physical clocks through lockdowns and everything, because it's not just me. My friends feel the same way. I used to be a night owl, I'd be happy being up till 4. And then, I would be tired the next day, but I could deal with it. And my friends were the same way, but all of a sudden I find myself getting tired so much earlier. And it's not like my life circumstances have changed and become more tiring. No, they used to be even more tiring before 2020, but yet I was fine. But something about it, I am exhausted so much earlier. And my friends feel the same way. And one of them had said, you know what? I think it was a purposeful reset of our body clocks by shutting everything down. Everything shut down early. There was nothing to do. People weren't hanging out, and you kind of reprogrammed people, which is interesting because if you look at some of the Agenda 2020, is it Agenda 2020? Agenda 21, sorry. Agenda 21 and the Agenda 2030 objectives, they become, environmental objectives, small walkable cities, eco-friendly type things. And then when you step back and you look, okay, well, resetting the body clock, the fact that you're going to sleep earlier, you're consuming less energy, and, you start to realize, wow, okay, is this intentional, some sort of intentional programming, which is interesting because that seems minor. But when you look at that, you're like, well, how many other ways can we be messed with if just our body clocks have been able to be reset? So do I feel time is speeding up for the past 2 years? I just feel like everything just feels warped. My sense of time is all warped because of whatever way they're resetting our clocks and messing with us. And it's weird that it feels like another life before 2020, like so long ago. And I guess that's because life has really changed a lot. And as we've gotten back to normal, it's it doesn't feel like a real normal. It feels like a facade of normal because I don't know, just something in me and something, that a lot of people are feeling that we aren't in a real normal. They're just putting up a facade to make us think everything's okay because maybe that keeps us compliant. You take away people's rights and then you slowly give them back and then people are like, "Oh, thank you for my rights." But yet those were our rights in the first place. That type of situation. So it's just a strange situation and a strange world we're living in. But like I am a super social person. I'm a very much an extrovert, and I find that I just have such a low tolerance for people and being around people anymore. Like that is also reset itself. But I don't think that was like some purposeful programming or resetting. I think people have shown their true colors. People have shown how much like lemmings there are, where you kind of just like lose your respect and your interest in people. And then you start to realize where your priorities are and where your true friends are. And it's amazing because the things I used to love beforehand, I can't even motivate myself to do anymore. Like I used to be at live concerts all the time, and I don't have the motivation to pick up and go anymore, even if it's something local, which is unheard of. Like for my favorite bands, I can't even get the motivation to get up and go. I can't even get myself to get to a movie anymore, which is like if you knew me before 2020, like, whoa, Ashley not going to concerts or movies? Like what is wrong? But somehow, this is it's odd. I guess we're in this season of changing and maybe our brains kind of prioritizing things and knowing what your true interests are and knowing who your true friends are. I don't know. It's odd. So let's see. You came here for my antique cameras. I don't even know much about them. I just like they look cool and I got them from a tag sale. You know what? I haven't done any research about it. So I have to look into it. Unfortunate. I mean, I'm all in for the Richard Hart products, but I have failed in doing my research for I feel like I own some Maximus, right? I mean, isn't there a Maxi coin or is that different from Maximus? But no, I need to stop slacking and do my research. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. I keep getting the partial twilight zone feeling, the thin veil feeling. That's interesting. And it's interesting that a lot of people are feeling the same way. If it's just you and your friends, it's like, okay, well, maybe you have the same mindsets about things. But when people everywhere are saying, that something's different, yeah, thin veil, it's interesting. It's like because if you talk about thin veil, it could be something spiritual too. Have there been vortexes open and portals opening? Has CERN done something? It raises a lot of questions. Night owl. Yeah, that was me too. Kind of getting back to that. Okay, so you're able to get back to that. But it sounds like you found that you kind of switched. You lost your night owlness before you got back to it. So yeah, so it looks like it's a common theme for a lot of people. And you love these streams being at night. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You know what? I feel like strangeness is kind of like a nighttime thing, but just in general with my life circumstances and schedule, nighttime is just the easiest thing for me. So I'm glad it works for you guys. Ada says the veil of normalcy, thin veil of normalcy. Yes, exactly. Like it's a facade. There's no normal right now, but they want us to think there's a normal. So they're going to project, normal. Oh, you can go back to the restaurants. Oh, there aren't these restrictions on you anymore. Here. But it feels fake. It feels like it's not real. Like we're on like the precipice of something else. The way I see it from studying the Mayan calendar, time seems to have a slingshot around the moon effect. Slingshot around the moon effect. Interesting. Can you explain it before I take guesses at what that is? Before I interpret it myself? Oh, it's Sunday here. Yes, you're in Oceania, right? Mr. Okel says a lot of movies have been mediocre lately too. And you know what? I have not been seeing any movies lately, but like there's nothing that really there's very few movies that actually seem interesting or worth seeing now. Reevaluating. Yeah, reevaluating our priorities, reevaluating our friendships. Yeah, definitely. Torn watched The Sandman. Oh, okay. So The Sandman's good. I've been wondering if that was worth the watch. So Mr. Okel says rating out of 5, and Torrin says 4.5. Really got the creative juices flowing, but the acting, meh. Oh, that's too bad, because you know what? Some of those names looked pretty good. Or maybe I'm confused. Maybe Gwendolyn Christie is the only one I know of. But I mean, Neil Gaiman, it seems worth checking out. So Antonio says you're moving to New York City so we can go have a coffee. Well, Antonio, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I don't step foot in the city anymore. Yeah, I'm a suburban girl and I've lost my interest. I used to be there all the time because I am very close to the city, but I lost my interest in going. I'm sure you guys have seen Twitter videos. They kind of show why. But I have to say, New York still, I would say, is a lot safer than many other cities in the country. But it's just changed from like what we're used to over here. Mr. Okel says, wow, okay, Torin, rather that than She-Hulk. I am not into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but what I've been seeing about She-Hulk has not been appealing. I saw somebody say that one of the scenes from She-Hulk seemed like a scene out of a cutscene from a video game. And yeah, they were right. So Vision Null says, I may have a pulse in the movie industry. I can make some recommendations. Ooh, yeah, throw those recommendations out to us. Would love to see that. And Mr. Okel says, next time I hit the theater will probably be Avatar, and that's a re-release. When are they putting the Avatar re-release in the theaters? Because I think I will have to go see that now. But okay, so let me go pull up that tweet. Okay. You know what? I'll screen share it. I'm gonna make the attempt and hopefully it won't crash anything. This computer is new enough. It showed it. Share a screen. Okay. What is it? Sorry, it's giving me a box. Okay, I don't need that. Okay, so let's find the proper Chrome tab. There we go. Okay, so this should be sharing now. There we go. Okay, so I came across this tweet, and it says it was talking about this whole Biden thing that happened, right? Creepy, weird. I didn't watch the speech, but I have no patience for anything political. But I heard some stuff about it. I have to say that imagery. I mean, listen, both sides are problematic, but man, if the other side of the political spectrum did that, they would be crucified for it. But I'm like, he does it and it's all good. Yeah, I heard that he was like backtracking on certain things that he said. And saw somebody say, well, that's because he doesn't remember making this speech. It's terrible, man. But if you have ever been around anybody with dementia, sadly, there are some things that are very clear, especially the look in the eyes. It's very recognizable. Okay. So good. So everything is playing out exactly as expected. The left/darkness rising up is the obvious and blatant evil that leads people to the false light. Look at the response. Thousands tweeting connections to Nazi Germany, Hitler, tyranny. This is the Hegelian dialectic at play. Okay. So remember the Hegelian dialectic. Problem, reaction, solution, which is interesting because we see a lot of that, the government creating the problems, everybody reacts and like, oh, here's the solution, and then they're praised as the heroes. Let's look at the reaction. The trending page today has been pedo Hitler, Nazi Germany. Saying these things going to get me banned. Make America Great Again, satanic, and V for Vendetta. Interesting. Okay, so I guess he gives a link to his thread about B for Vendetta. My friend Satan has created and is propping up a scary, blatantly evil counterfeit beast slash NWO so that he can offer himself as the solution in the form of false light. Satan masquerades as an angel of light. The scarier the left gets, the better the right looks. Interesting. Okay. We are about to see a massive pendulum swing that throws the Great Reset off its hinges. The Great Awakening is the spiritual force that will propel the beast, Donald Trump, into power with the spiritual support needed to fulfill his destiny as the Antichrist. Okay, that I'm going to throw away. I don't believe Trump is the beast. I don't believe any politician at the moment is the beast. I don't think we've seen the beast yet. So to me, I'm like, all right, you lost me there at that point. But I understand what they're saying. So that, they swing one way so that we accept the other way. They present one side as a problem, and then they give the solution. Here's another side to it. But yet that solution is playing right into the NWO plans. Pretty interesting, right? And it says, remember, the real beast kingdom is not a tyrannical, Orwellian, oppressive state. Satan is using this idea to lead many into fear, which will lead their hearts right into the arms of the beast, who will offer himself as the savior, as a solution to evil. He will be the savior. Okay, that makes complete sense. It's truly a masterful deception, and it's very important that your heart is not caught up in these theatrical political events staged by Satan and the princes of this world. So many have poured their hearts and spirits into this fake political fight. It's very sad. And if you read this and think, does that mean the left are the good guys? You will need to change your thinking entirely. Satan controls both sides. He is the god of this world, as seen in 2 Corinthians 4:4. He is luring you into worshiping by setting up an obvious villain. Now, I have to say that I find that very interesting because we obviously do feel like we're being, that this obvious thing is coming into play, and the Great Reset, and here's these dark forces, and that looks like the bad guy. But they're saying something interesting here, that no, that is going to be the setup to get us to go into the actual beast system, into the actual New World Order, which was an interesting way of seeing it presented. I've never seen it presented in that way. So I'm reading I totally did say every trigger word. And I'm going to get back to the chat. I didn't say it. I read it. Yeah, exactly. So, and I will get back to the chat after. So do drop your thoughts in there. I just want to continue what we're doing right here. Let's see where I left off. Okay. So, and I will repost all this because this is a really great video to explain it right here. It's InfoWars, but which I am now understanding how they play into a plan. I mean, yes, there's good info in there. Up until now, I've had no problems with them, but now I'm starting to understand some things, which I will post, so if you go to my Twitter, you will find the links to all this. So remember, this world has fallen because of sin. He will never have we will never have peace on earth until Christ literally returns to establish his millennial kingdom on earth. Any peace we have before then will be a false peace of Lucifer. Mankind in this world is still tainted by sin. Interesting. Okay, everybody's going to have a different opinion on it, but if you are a Christian, if you believe, in the second coming, this makes a lot of sense what's being said here. The true meaning of exposing and fighting evil isn't outward, it's inward. The truth is the true fight against evil in this world is to understand. Sorry, I'm messing the words up. The true fight against evil in this world is to understand the wickedness in our own hearts. We are all fallen and corrupt, and Satan wants you to believe you are good or without sin. This is why he made this entire control matrix. This is why he's created all of this obvious evil. So we, in our self-righteousness, we may point to it as though we are not just wicked. As though we are not just as wicked from God's perspective. My friends, if you want to expose the evil and darkness in this world, begin by exposing the darkness in our own hearts. We need Jesus Christ. We need his grace, because without it, we are in big trouble. Do not look to man to save your flesh. Pray on this, brothers and sisters. So very interesting here, because okay, well, I know a lot was said, and it almost seems like it's not making sense, but if you go into the video that is in that thread, that video really speaks volumes, because what they're saying here is, they're going to create a problem. So right now, it looks like the problem that they're creating is, look at this Great Reset, look at the New World Order. And they are gonna, and it's gonna be presented like it's a beast system, and we are gonna look at it as as being evil, as being the beast, as being, the beast system. But meanwhile, it's going to be a counterfeit new world order. Yes, it is a new world order. Yes, it's bad. Yes, it's evil. Yes, it's a problem. But it's not the new world order to end all new world orders. You know what I mean? It's not the true one that is supposed to come about in the end times. They're saying that they're creating this counterfeit new world order. So we look at it blatantly like, oh, that's the bad guy. And then they're going to come and present a solution to us so that we think we're saved from this new world order and everything's fine and we have peace now. But meanwhile, the system that comes in to save us is the legit new world order, but it's being presented as the savior to this other new world order. Wild, right? Like when I heard that, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And they also presented, I did it again. What do I do that every week? But I actually found it this time. But they, I'm not going to fall over. There we go. But, hold on, I'm losing my train of thought. It's derailing. Give me a moment. Okay. But, and they made an interesting point. They kind of always seem to be leaving breadcrumbs and clues, but why would they, if they really, if this really is the new world order to end all, the big one, why would they leave so many clues? Why would they be breadcrumbing us? They do everything in secret, just like so many other things that they do in secret. So it's because they want us to believe that that is the one, and so that they can swoop in and rescue us from that with the legit one. Does that make sense? Not wild. It's mind-blowing. Let me go back up and check the chat. Let's see. Ooh, one maxi is 2.3 hex. Okay. Definitely gonna have to look into it now. Thank you. There are too many hex live streams to have any time for sitting through a movie that will likely be trash. I hear you. But I like sitting through the movie anyway. More so TV. I like TV. Oh, yeah. Biden falling off the bike. It was sad. Yeah. I mean, but when you look at it, and my mother had pointed this out, and no, he got his foot stuck in his bike clips. And when you looked at a zoomed out clip, he legit did get his foot stuck in the bike clips. But an old man like that who likely has dementia shouldn't have clips on his bike, put him in a nice beach cruiser. But there's so many other signs there. So the exponential increase in tech, but also headed away from the source, the light or center. Time is an ellipse. Away from the center is back with time relative to the journey. Okay, so this is Torrin explaining what he means by the slingshot with the Mayan calendar. So the exponential increase in tech, but also headed away from the source, the light. Time is an ellipse away from the center and back with time relative to the journey. Okay, I think I'm getting this. It's entering my brain. The pendulum is another way to describe what I'm talking about, but it's an elliptic cycle. Oh, it's interesting because what we were just reading off of Twitter is kind of like a pendulum type thing. That is definitely how they do it. None of those actors or how they appear. Yeah, no, I'm with you. InfoWars had me think differently. They were pretty cool. I mean, definitely. I don't. And I will tweet it, but the way it was presented in that video was that, things like people like Joe Rogan, people like Alex Jones and InfoWars, they're kind of being set up to perpetuate this idea of the counterfeit new world order and to really get us into it and believing it. Not because they're bad guys, they're just accidentally being used as pawns. So that video that goes along with it is really excellent. So John Davis says, the beast has already come and gone. He was Caesar Nero who persecuted the early church in the 1st century AD. Those who are looking for the beast today are doing so according to dispensationalism. The beast system could be argued as being in operation today via the vestiges of the Roman Empire or the New World Order. The Hegelian dialect is its primary strategy of world dominance. Thank you for bringing that up, because you know what? I do tend to lean a lot, in that school of thought where all the things in the book of Revelation have come to pass, and that we're kind of, still in the lingering parts of it now until the return of Christ. That has crossed my mind a lot, and I have kind of, sat in that school of thought sometimes. But then lately I've gone back and forth with everything going on. But you know what? This is interesting because, that is kind of a mix of the two, So the beast came, but the system still exists. So, and it's interesting because, the New World Order being the vestiges of the Roman Empire, like when you look at kind of the occultic links with the New World Order and how the Roman Empire was, and how pagan that was, you could definitely see the connections between the two. So that is an interesting thought that I'm going to have to think about. Okay, thank you for bringing it up tonight. Wow. It's more and more false flag events to take away freedoms. But if you read Matthew 24, you will realize that according to God's plan, it's just going to get worse. Yeah. No, I've seen, different schools of thought on it. I know people who are like, no, we're going to get better before we get worse. Some people are like, we're going to get worse. Because you know what, I kind of take a laid back approach to it. I'm like, whatever happens, happens. We kind of have to create our own world and peace in it, kind of, you know what I mean? Just kind of live your life, support your family, kind of just be in your own community through whatever happens. So I don't worry about things getting worse, but I agree. It's probably going to get worse. But you understand what I'm saying about not worrying about it. I'm kind of just, be prepared, be mindful, be aware, but live your life and don't go into a panic or worry about it. But definitely, I mean, you start to look at everything and everything starts feeling like a false flag. And I used to hear that word, and, and it seemed like it would be a rare occurrence back when I heard it. But then as time goes on, I'm like, are any of these events happening actually real? Like everything just seems like staged constantly. It's really amazing. And just like there was some sort of march today. And I don't know if I don't even remember their name, but some group in Indianapolis. I'm like, am I going to get banned for saying their name? Oh, I remember. Yeah. Patriot Front. I don't know if I'm going to get myself in trouble, but and they were marching, but when you look at it, it's weird. It doesn't like seem normal. It seems too perfect, too organized, too fake. People were bringing it up. They're like, everybody's in shape, and there's not one overweight person, like no person out of place. Like it's everything. Isn't there a saying the world is a theater? And lately, just everything feels like theater, constantly. I'm like, when does the real stuff actually happen, or does the real stuff never actually make it to TV? He needs a three-wheeler and start cracking up. Ada says he needs a three-wheeler. Yeah, I think so. I think he is at that point because you know what? He's capable of riding his bike. He just needs one of those. And I'm seeing more people using it. It's kind of like a beach cruiser. It's a three-wheeler and it has that big, it's almost like an adult tricycle, but it has that, it's got that big basket on the bike. But can you imagine him as president? Like he's already a joke, how that would look. But it truly, why do they even have him? Well, where, I mean, because he's a puppet. But like, it's sad. Like, I get that he has never been a great guy. He's said horrible things in the 70s. He's always advocated for terrible things, even though people like to make him out to be a hero. But I still feel bad for abusing it, the idea of abusing an old man, especially one with dementia. I have a lot of sympathy for people like that. And it's so clear that he is in the throes of it, especially if you've ever spent time with a person with dementia. There's a very specific look they have in their eyes. I don't want to say glazed over. I don't know how to describe it, but the look is very specific. And when you look at him, he has it. I mean, even like when you see his wife positioning him and moving him away from the reporters, like it's just a sad situation to see. It's elder abuse, truly. Sorry, I'm still laughing at this three-wheeler comment that Ada and Torin are talking about. Mr. Okel says, agreed. I used to really like Joe Rogan Experience, but I see what you're saying. He seems less open-minded now. You know, it's interesting because, okay, he will give some people a platform. He does say some interesting things, but there's something that just doesn't feel right. Doesn't sit right with me about him. And I don't know what it is, but maybe it's that type of thing. So am I religious? Yeah, I definitely am. I don't know if that's sarcasm or, because I seem so blatantly religious, but no, but yeah, I am. So there's the lens that colors my view of the world. So Michael Park says, in my 61 years on Earth, the younger generations don't realize how evil this world is now. It used to be way better when I was growing up. We even took our guns to school and hung in our pickups. And I think it becomes like the frog in the boiling water thing, as you don't, because you're born into it, the younger generations, you don't realize what's going on. You get used to a certain type of darkness and evil in the world, and it's hard to comprehend that the world was ever a better place. But you know what? I think, each generation feels that about the generation behind it. So it's just like this slide, I guess, into darkness, and it's a constant slide until Christ returns, if that's what you believe in. And it's interesting because I was I was listening to the audiobook of Dubliners. It's read by Chris O'Dowd, so it's excellent. It's really great to listen to. And they were talking about, like, how the younger, it was in the last story of Dubliners. I believe it's called the Dead. And in that story, they're like talking about, the younger, and this is written like turn of the century, and they're talking about how the younger generations are less hospitable, and they were ranting about the younger generations. But so like every generation looks at the younger generation and how much things have changed, and it's just been a constant thing throughout time, which really makes you sit back and go, wow, it really just is a slide, right? It is a slide. But I think good things can come out of each generation. But it's sad how many things were lost. Like that's wild to think that you guys used to take guns to school and hung out in your pickups. I think even like up until the 90s, sometimes people, in rural areas where the kids would like go to school with guns in the trunk of their car. I've heard, or even now that you live in a rural area where the tractors pull up to school, because then because they have to go back to and farm straight after school or pick up something on the way home, so they drive the tractors to school and then drive them back. But it's amazing because marksmanship, they say, is one of those skills that is like this basic American skill. Like when the country was founded, every single person just knew it was something that you had, and we definitely have gotten away from that. And it's amazing because you would think that we've gotten away from that a long time ago, but look, just as recently as when you were young, people still did that. And now it's like, ooh, you can't, you can't say those words now. You can't say gun. I used to be a teacher, as a lot of you know, and when I was student teaching, in a Catholic all boys high school. And I was walking around with one of the teachers or principal, I don't remember who it was. And they told me, oh yeah, that down here, there used to be an indoor gun range in the school. That used to be part of the curriculum. And I'm like, wow, it's hard to imagine. But, there's so much debate about, the gun debate and everything. But really think about the idea of, people are afraid, like, okay, if you teach somebody how to use guns, and there's going to be more problems. But think about accidents that happen. If you just teach these things in school, if you make it acceptable, then so many more kids know gun safety, and then accidents won't happen, or less accidents would happen. We are stuck in neo-feudalism. We need a mass awakening out of scarcity. Oh, so yeah, scarcity will wake people up. You know what? Unfortunately, I think it's going to take something as extreme as food scarcity and water scarcity to wake people up. Because even now, as things are getting bad, people still don't get it. People still haven't woken up. And it's going to take something extreme to get people to wake up. Amen to that, Michael. Yep, we have hope. In the end, God wins. So as bad as things get, we know that everything's going to turn out good in the end. Oh, thank you, Mr. Okel. That's so nice of you. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. Last thing you watched, go. Ooh, what did I watch? I watched something lately. I watched the new episode of 5 Days at Memorial, and then I watched part of a Ted Lasso episode. That was the last thing I watched before I went to bed the other night. And the last night I just went to bed without watching anything. Always new Hexicans. Oh, thank you. It's very nice of you, QC Organics. Thank you. I appreciate that because I felt bad that I was unprepared, but I love being able to just chat back and forth with you guys like this and exchange ideas. Okay, so wait, did I say the name of the school? Yeah, that was it. That was it. Oh, you went there? Oh, yeah, a small world. That's awesome. Well, I guess yeah, that was the town that you grew up in, right? Yep. Amen to that, Torrin. Because you know what? There's always the light in the darkness. Even in the darkest times when things are really bad, think about the stories of hope, the stories of goodness you hear come out of the really bad times, and if you're people of faith, like some of us in here are, that's God. That's God's goodness coming through the darkness, the light shining in the darkness. All boys school, they kick you out for breaking too many young men's hearts. It was interesting working in all boys school. I remember walking to my car or something, and then they're getting "Hey baby" by high school boys when I was in grad school, and I'm like, you don't know how to process it. I'm like, am I supposed to say no or, like, excuse me, or just keep walking? I just kept walking and pretend like I didn't hear it. I don't remember what I did, but it was kind of like, it was an interesting experience, being a girl in grad school working with high school boys. I mean, they were all nice and they were sweet, but it was also just wild, like the culture of being in an all boys high school. Because yeah, fights happen in high school, but they happen in a different way. Like, there was also big Italian and big Irish populations in the school, and they would get on trains from the Bronx and come to this school in Westchester. And then you would hear, oh, the Italian kids fought the Irish kids right when they got off the train, and this and that. So just completely, it was just different. And just the way boys were mean to each other too. You're like, shoot, I know girls can be cruel, but like, come on, guys. But it was a cool experience. Glad I did it. Hey, completion fails. Ted Lasso leaves me smiling. Good stuff. I love Ted Lasso. I just watched that show over and over, and I just got a cute little Ted Lasso keychain the other week. I had to go run errands for somebody, and then there was a store that had it, and I had to buy it for myself as a little treat. I'm like, so. Okay. Grew up in the Highlands. So it's kind of like Greenberg area. Oh, but I remember where you said, okay, now I remember where you said you grew up. That worked. No, it didn't work because those were minors, and yeah, and I was legally an adult at that time. So no, I kept on walking. It was a little what the heck, because like you don't because at the mixed schools the kids don't, like, I guess, dare speak to the teachers like that, but mixed co-ed schools. But yeah, but it was interesting, not the career I wanted to be in the rest of my life, but I made the most of it when I was learning it and doing that. Torrin says, my dad told me about the Irish Italian drama growing up in Buffalo. I thought he was full of it till I got older. And here's the thing, I live in Westchester. I've never heard of this Italian and Irish drama, but I guess it's a thing in the Bronx. I guess they had a section they live in the Bronx, and they just, those boys just went after each other. And I didn't know. The teacher was like filling me in on the details of it. Oh, you did 2 years there. You make it sound like a jail. You did your time in Stepanak. What subject? Biology. Yeah, I guess it kind of ties into high strangeness. Is that surprising, right? Yeah, I taught biology, and I remember teaching. Oh, okay, it was a bioethics class at high school level, and I incorporated the X-Files into it. I had everybody write watch Fight the Future, and then I had like a board full of notes about like, different ethical dilemmas and medical rape and all these issues that arise in the X-Files. And and I think I took a picture of that board. I'm gonna have to find it and put it on Twitter. Yeah, it was really an interesting time. Yeah. Sorry, I'm dropping stuff. I play with everything like fidget toys, and then I keep dropping it. Does that mean I don't know. ADHD. I never bothered to get tested because I'm like, I'm not going to do anything about it. So whatever. I don't need to label my brain. But yeah, my brain definitely goes after dopamine like an ADHD person, but I'm just going to ignore that. So did you guys watch K4K's Hex and Pulse X prediction video? I did not. I find it hard to watch prediction videos because everybody says something so different, and I can't always understand the reasoning behind it. But like I said, that dollar Pulse X prediction, I can't see how it was possible, the one I saw on Twitter. But it would be nice. Would be. So it was literally your job to F around and find out. If you haven't seen that video, never mind. No, I haven't seen that video. I've heard the saying, and I've seen the little one that they make look like is it Gadsden? The Gadsden flag with the alligator in red. Oh, I missed it, where somebody had said one of the recent thing they watched. Okay, so Black Donnelly's, I haven't heard of that. Is that a UK show? My dad and his brother's family are from Buffalo. Shout out to Duff's, home of the Buffalo Wing. Originally the Anchor Bar. You know what? I had like no idea that I never made the connection that Buffalo Wings are from Buffalo's. Not sorry. Oh my gosh, not from Buffalo's. Are from Buffalo, New York. I just messed up. Yeah. I put caffeine in my body to help my brain work, but I drank it too early. Yeah, see, caffeine doesn't wake me up. It just makes my brain work properly. Is that another ADHD sign? Yeah. Oh yeah. So I never realized that. I don't think I ever completely made the connection that buffalo wings are called buffalo wings. I thought they were just called buffalo wings for fun because they're from Buffalo, New York. I think what made me realize was the Murphy Brown revival. They did an episode where they were like, that there was a news report happening in Buffalo from like the home of the Buffalo Wings or something. So Murphy Brown is what taught me that. The revival. At what dollar amount would you consider yourself financially free? Oof. I don't even know. Because honestly, not to sound pessimistic, but like I haven't really. I mean, sometimes I'll do some calculations and have fun, but I haven't really sat down and put it to paper because I don't want to be pining after a number. I want to let whatever happens. I don't want to constantly have that number on my mind going, I need that, I need that, I need that. So I haven't sat down and thought about it, man. I mean, have you guys kind of sat down, figured out where you would be financially free at what price point? Thankfully, I think a lot of us have so many where, even lower price points could do it for us, which would be awesome. It just needs to release. Get on the bulletproof coffee. I have to say, MCT oil does work wonders for your brain. I think I have had some coffee, like a Super Coffee does an MCT oil and coffee mix, but I didn't find that it did much for me in that sense. But I do put MCT oil in my protein shake, and my protein shake has coffee in it. So I guess that kind of is some version of bulletproof coffee. That depends on age dependence, a lot of things. Yeah, everybody would have a different answer. Oh no, for sure. Yeah. I just like I said, I haven't taken the opportunity to really sit down and figure things out and figure out what my goals are. But I'm curious if you guys have sat and figured out where your goals would be. Yeah, so you're still pondering it over completion fails? Because here's the thing, I don't like to think of an overall dollar amount because, some people are like, okay, maybe, having this many million would be great. But I'm like, you really have to take a lot of things into account. Like Brian was saying, because, where do you want to live? Do you want to stay in your area? Do you want to upgrade your lifestyle or do you want to live modestly? What are your goals? So, I mean, and then I feel like there's a, um kind of like a stretch goal, okay, this would be good, this would be helpful, but here's where I would like really go all out, and honestly I don't think I would ever like go all out in the typical crypto way where people are like driving Lambos and everything. I just want to be able to live the way I want, kind of free from a lot of constraints. I don't need flashy stuff. I just, you know want to live life the way I want to, not be down by jobs and income and everything, and be able to take care of everyone around me. Right? I think that's the basics. Though eventually, if you hit your stretch goal, okay, there's a pretty car would be fine, would be fun. But I think having a house would be more fun. Owning my own home. Have you guys heard that NASA canceled the Artemis rocket, which was to go around the moon? Either a false flag event may happen, or like Dave Weiss says, they are watching them with better optics. I heard something about a rocket getting canceled, but I didn't pay much attention because I'm like, oh, they always kind of cancel and reschedule things. But I didn't realize this was completely canceled. Oh, so that's interesting. I want to look into that. That sucks. I mean, yeah. Okay, depending on what side of that, where your views are on the shape of the earth. But I guess either way it could suck because people who believe in a flat earth that wanted NASA to look even more stupid. It's a bummer that it got canceled. For people that believe in the round earth and space, that's also a bummer. So either way, so yeah, so it is odd. So either false flag event may happen. You know what? And I do think we're on the precipice of another false flag. How I made, do I? This is an odd question about my brows. Do I stress out about my brows? No, because I pay somebody else to do them. Like any good girl from New York. That's what we all do. Who wants normal, nice eyebrows? I've heard outside of New York, people like to handle it on their own. Here, we don't touch our eyebrows ourselves. We go to somebody else. So thank you for the strange question, how I made. Not strange, it's funny. Thank you for the funny question. Bit finesse. I've thought about it. I don't feel comfortable slowing down or I'll never retire, but I don't want to slow down until I have a thing that buys crypto for me, whatever that means. Do that. Yeah. And I think the thing is, I believe as humans to be like in our optimal state, we have to work. We have to have something that we do. We have to stay moving. But I think the thing about crypto is, we can, if we are financially free, through our crypto, we have the ability to do work that we like, that we enjoy. But I don't even mean like, you don't even have to work for like money. Maybe you want to volunteer. Maybe you want to have a nonprofit. Maybe your work is tending your home and your garden, is taking care of your family and being around them all the time. The ability to stay home with your family, like we all need to have some sort of work, something that drives us, something that gets out of bed every day. It can't just be, racing the Lambo up and down the highway and then drinking the rest of the day. We do have to have something in our lives. And I know that people, want to have that goal where they just sit on the beach all day, but there has to be something more. And I think that's something that a lot of people need to take into account. What are you going to do when you don't have to work for money? And I like what you're saying here, that you're not going to retire. You're not going to slow down. You're going to find something else that you like and you're going to go with it. But now you're not completely obligated to it. That could be the thing that buys you crypto. That's a cool perspective. That way you're not draining it. You're still putting into it. QC Organics, take your salary where you live in a rich country and extrapolate over expected life expectancy. Move to cheaper cost of living in the country when I know there are a lot of people that do want to switch the country that they're in. I guess, the talk of Hexaco being a legit thing. I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility for people to make their own island. But is there a higher cost of living for people to make their own country or island? It's interesting. But definitely if you're inclined to be in a different country, at this point, I want to be in the Northeast. I want to stay in the Northeast. Yeah. So I would have to take those expenses into account. But man, if anybody else is cool with going somewhere else, and Brian, don't come after me for wanting to be in the Northeast. If anybody else is cool with it, man, that's a great way to stretch your dollar, to stretch your hex, to stretch your hex. To stretch everything out. Anything over a mil should be good, I think, but definitely depends on taste. It depends on taste, and you know what? Like we said, it depends where you live, because here a mil is nothing in Westchester. A mil buys you a tiny little house, and then you still got to pay all those taxes every year. But it's true, if like QC Organics was saying, if you go somewhere else, yeah, then you can really stretch that money and go farther. Torn says, if everyone had bits plans, we'd have Shangri-La. Well, you know what? Maybe we will have our own country. I'll wave to you guys. I'll visit you, but I'm going to stay here. Yeah, bit finesse. I do think we're going that way, especially with inflation. Billion being the new million. I'm just going to point to my little vase over there. John Davis, self-employment or my business fits my INTJ personality, minimum 100K per year. You know what? And I really do see how self-employment is the way to go. I've been self-employed for the past, since late 2019. And, I don't know how long I want to do that. I mean, I wish that crypto was in a different situation so I can stay self-employed. For the moment, I kind of want to move out of that. But if it works with your personality, if you can sustain yourself on it, then I do definitely think it's the way to go, especially as we've seen, everything happening with mandates and stuff. You really do get to avoid that, people telling you what to do in a being self-employed. Oh, I'm behind. I got to catch up. Where's that comment in the chat? Ashley keeps reading comments that aren't in chats. LOL. Really? You guys aren't seeing these comments? They're all in my chat. That's weird. Are they getting deleted? I don't know. Let's see. Is somebody deleting comments? Guys, come on. I didn't give you a wrench to delete comments. I want everything out there unless it's lewd. Ask NASA to provide some real pics of the spinning globe Earth. I don't want to get into this debate. But I respect everybody regardless of their beliefs. I honestly, to me, it doesn't make a difference. We can live on a cylinder and I'd be whatever about it. Do you ever catch Randy Hilarski's streams? You guys have similar topics. I've heard the name. I don't think I've caught his streams, or maybe I have and I'm forgetting. Sometimes I can't always connect the name and the face until I see the face. But I'm going to have to look after this. Isn't Hilarski an Axion shill from back in the days? I don't know enough about him. Clintron says, I like the flat earth idea, but in the model, why did the stars move and why can we see satellites in the night sky if the sun has moved away? Yeah. And here's the thing. I've noticed when, it comes to debating flat earth versus round earth, there's no way to debate it because everybody has their answers, and like, I think flat earth would be pretty cool, more space and secrets to explore, but, I haven't seen anything convincing enough for me. There's a lot of unanswered questions for me. Oh, thank you, Bit Finesse. That's a nice compliment. I appreciate that. Do I have a personal motto? I don't. No, I don't think I do. Remember, though, I think I said something once that was kind of, if anything, it'd be completely out of left field and just insane. But no, I don't think I have a personal motto. But thank you for asking. Do you guys? Do you have a personal motto, Naeem? Yeah, a million in Thailand will get you far, definitely. There's some countries where you can really stretch it. The thing is, can you adapt to another country from where you're at? Not everybody adapts very well. I mean, I guess technically you can adapt to anything, but not everybody wants to adapt. There you go. Hexaco is a state of mind. Ada says cold weather is a safe bet if something happens. I am with you on that. Because here's the thing. If you live in the Northeast, you're used to extreme weather conditions, especially the cold. And not a lot of people want to be in the cold. If things start going bad, if things start going down, besides people terrorizing each other up here, I do believe people are eventually going to move south. And I think that'll prevent anybody else from coming into the Northeast to cause problems. And I don't mean governments, I just mean, golden horde, random people moving around. So I do believe that cold weather is a great deterrent. So if you can stay, and I'm talking like if the SHTF, if the shizzle hits the fan, if things go bad, because it seems like we're going towards a societal and economic collapse, then you do have to consider different environments. And I do think the cold weather is tough, but tough to be in. But if you're used to it, if you know how to handle it, then it could be a deterrent. And it could drive a lot of people out of here, that people start moving south. So I'm with you on that. Switch to live chat. Isn't this the live chat? I feel like I'm at the bottom of the live chat. Did I lose something in here? Flat Earth can't prove flatness because round Earth cannot prove gravity. Ooh, I can't wrap my brain around that. Flat Earth can't prove flatness because, I get you. Okay. Kind of like a little paradox, but not quite. I've made the decision to accept reality regardless of what that reality decides to be. You know what? I guess what other choice do we have besides to go with the flow? Gaiman didn't like what Hilarski had to say on Cabana yesterday. I really want to talk to Gaiman more about it. Ooh, I see I'm not in the mix on this drama. Or I don't know what's going on. Naeem says, mine is enjoy life because tomorrow is not guaranteed. Amen to that, right? I mean, kind of, was that to say YOLO? No, but true. You have to, what does the Bible say? Teach us to number our days so that I can, teach us to number our days to, I can't remember, but there's many references to it. No, and it's true. We're not and the Bible also says we're not promised tomorrow. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. So you just have to live every day to its fullest, and not squander it. That's a great motto. Am I missing certain parts of the chat? Because I feel like I'm seeing references to things. I'm seeing people reference things, but I don't see because Torrin's referencing Ada, but I don't see Ada's comment. Did Ada get banned or blocked or something? If anybody's deleting comments, guys, be careful. I don't want anybody deleted unless they're being like extreme and inappropriate. Or it's just YouTube being weird. Hi, Warped Impulse. The stars move in unison, except for those stars that move independently. Those stars are called planets, from the Greek planets meaning wandering stars. Oh, I didn't know that was the origin of the term. Go with the flow, right? What can you do besides going with the flow? Brian talking to me. Thanks, Brian. I thought I was on live chat and totally forgot. That was probably my problem. Okay, gotcha. I was like, did I mess something up? But did Ada disappear? Because all of a sudden I see Ada, but I don't. Okay, cold weather is safe bet if something happens. Oh, gotcha. I see. Oh, because of the live chat thing. Now I got it. Thank you guys for explaining. Because I was like, oh no, something happening? No, because I didn't think anybody would be deleting comments like that. But I'm like, is YouTube messing around? Um, you know what? Gravity, a scientifically unproven theory to this day. I have to say, regardless of what side you are on the Earth-shaped spectrum, I think it is wild that gravity, gravity is looked at as canon basically in science, right? But we still don't know what gravity is. I think that's wild. That's mind-blowing. Like we have no idea what those forces are. And I know they want to explain it with the fact that it bends the fabric of space and that things kind of flow around it. And that centrifugal forces too, kind of. But it's really wild that we still don't completely get gravity. We just know that things fall and we don't know why, you know? Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for that compliment, geez. QC Organics. Are you into organic stuff? I love organic. Okay, yeah, just about the cold. Gotcha. All right. No, I was like, I thought YouTube was being weird because I said too many red flaggy things. I think you were so far back in the chat and got confused. Yeah. Yeah, no, because even when I caught up, I thought I was missing something, but I ended up figuring out what was being referenced. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, and not that I'm accusing anybody of deleting, but I was like, oh no, this was something kind of, edgy, because I can handle edgy, but thank you guys to the moderators for looking out. I thought maybe something was kind of, on the cusp and you weren't sure how I would like it and whatever. And then I started worrying. I'm like, did I say too many red flaggy things? And YouTube is just like not happy with me. But yeah, no, but I'm telling you, it's interesting. There was a period of quick growth and then it slowed down, especially as we've gotten into some preparedness topics and things have really slowed down. And again, it could be my content. It could be the fact people aren't into what I'm doing. It could be because I'm kind of a mess and casual with this streaming. But I am just wondering because I said bullets a couple of weeks ago, and then I said it again last week, and I'm like, the algorithm might not like me anymore. But it's all right. Let's go with the flow. We're all here together. But yeah. So what else do you guys want to talk about? Anybody have any thoughts on anything weird happening lately? Has anybody been to Roswell? That's what I want to know. Because I don't think I've met anybody who was gone to Roswell. Because the Roswell picture somebody was showing me, they were showing me their friends' Roswell pictures. Oh, thank you, Mr. Okel. I appreciate that. Making me feel better. Thank you. But I'm cool. I'm like, go with the flow. If people don't like it, this is me. But thank you. But yeah, so that is one of my things. Also with the Vegas conference, people are like, you should go, you should come out here. And I kind of did toy with the idea. Circumstances have kept me from going out there, but the main thing that interested me, and I'm sorry, I know I should say because I want to meet everybody, and I know I should say crypto, but one of the main things in my head was like, if I go to Vegas, if I go to the conference, it's only a few hours away from Area 51. I could go drive out and go to the little town next to Area 51 and go to Area 51. That was the draw for me. Isn't that terrible? So anybody who's out in Vegas, and if you decide to take a drive out to Area 51, you let me know. I'm curious. Send me some pictures. Oh, you're driving out in the morning. So, Brian, have you been to Area 51? And I know there's not much to see. People drive all those hours just to see the fence and the signs and then that little town. Isn't there like a little tavern outside it called Little Alien? But it still seems appealing. I would do it. I would take the drive if I was out in Vegas. John Davis says the Book of Jude compares wandering stars, the planets, to false teachers because of their doctrinal unreliability. They're considered heretics, and wandering stars are unreliable for navigating. The Book of Jude. Oh, I like that comparison that it makes. That's cool. Wandering stars. And no, I was going to say something else about that, but I just lost it as I was saying that. But thank you for sharing that. I like that comparison. So much wisdom in the Bible. And So did they know when they were writing the Bible that those were planets? But I guess so, because the Greeks knew that those were planets. I'm curious. Or did they just think they were wandering? Anything about the Hedron pump lately? I have to say, I'm happy with the way it's going, because like there was a time there where I went, what did I do? Because I've gotten Hedron from some steaks, but I'm not as staked as I should be. I should have way more steaks, but there was a time where the gas was very prohibitive. So I wasn't, and then some of my steaks were ending, and I didn't even have the money to like end steaks. And I somehow came up with it, and then I was afraid to steak again. So like I didn't have the amazing amount of steaks that other people have, and so I didn't get all that free Hedron like everyone else. And so I bought a bunch of Hedron, and then I regretted it because I didn't just buy Hedron. I did a jerky thing and I traded my hex for Hedron because I didn't have the money to buy Hedron at the time. And then Hedron tanked, and I went, what did I do? I should have kept that hex. So I am happy to see it now up. Yeah. And equivalent with what the amount of hex? No, actually up above. So now it's kind of more than paid itself back, so but yeah, that was, I was messing around, and maybe I shouldn't have, but yeah, I am grateful it's going up. Now the thing is, I'm like, how far can it keep going? How much can this go? Does anybody have any Hedron predictions? Because I don't know what to make of it. I can't figure it out. I can't wrap my head around Hedron. So Brian has not been to Vegas. Maybe not Vegas, to Area 51. Maybe this would be the time to drive out, since we're talking about it. It's a sign. Make this your sign. Mr. Okel says, if I'm going to Vegas, I probably won't remember it. But Roswell would be cool. Yeah, Roswell. I've looked up flights there in the past. It's interesting that there aren't direct flights from my area into Roswell. Like I'd have to fly into Dallas and then fly into Roswell. So definitely a small little town, kind of just out there in the desert. Because when I look at where the major cities are, it's like, I think Albuquerque is 200 miles away. Santa Fe is 200 miles away. El Paso's 200 miles away. So it really is kind of out there. The reason why things falls due to the scientific law of density. If an object is heavier than the air, it falls. Okay. I've never heard it put that way. That's interesting. Because yeah, I do understand laws of density, but never heard it applied to air. I've also wondered lately, I'm like, does magnetism play into it? Because I know, there is magnetic attraction between molecules, between atoms. So I'm like, what if gravity is magnetic? And what if that's what keeps our atmosphere in a round planet? Or is that I can't remember. I was going somewhere with this. But yeah, I'm like, well, people, oh yeah, I think Dave Weiss was saying, he had brought up this point that, if you're in a vacuum, how does atmosphere stay attached to the earth? It would, because of pressure, go out into space. But, in my mind, I'm like, well, what if magnetism plays a bigger role than we realize? And it's magnetic attraction that holds the atmosphere to the earth. Or is that what they say holds it to the earth? I don't know. I was just pondering magnetism. I didn't bother to research. I was just wondering about it. Buoyancy and density. Yeah, but that is an interesting way to look at it, the law of density. So Roswell was a psyop to encourage the belief in aliens from outer space. There's no outer space according to the cosmology of the Bible. Now the thing is, I've heard that approach about Roswell being a psyop because, if people believe in aliens, then, then you could, the Great Deception, if you want to get into Project Bluebeam and all that. But I don't know necessarily what I believe about Roswell, but here's the thing. I like kitsch. I love the fact that you go to Roswell and it gets all kitschy and you see all the aliens, or campy. I don't know what the term is, but you guys know what I mean. That it's like kind of like those old-fashioned quirky roadside things. That's what I like. I like that vibe, you know. So I'm not I wouldn't necessarily be visiting these places like a pilgrimage, you know, to the aliens. More like just I like the sci-fi vibes. I like the kitsch. I like campy stuff, and that kind of just goes along with it. Part of why I go to the Pine Bush UFO Fair in New York every year. You were thinking of driving in New York after Vegas for your brother's birthday. Oh, that would be nice. I'm sure he would enjoy that. Um, I asked my parents if they know your brother, and they said, yeah, they know exactly who he is, which is awesome. Not financial advice, but Wales only is not financially advising that Hedron can possibly go much farther. Interesting. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, because I've been wondering, like, is it capable of going much farther? I don't know. Feel iffy about Hedron. I'm like, do I just take it and go back to Hex? You know, stake your Hedron, then wait for the next cycle top. You're good. That's another option. Thank you. That's why I really need to sit and think, but I don't want to sit and think, and I just ignore everything. It's terrible. I am irresponsible when it comes to it lately. The inspired writers of the Bible knew what they were writing about because they were writing according to the mind of God. Yeah, I do believe. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I believe that the Bible, the entire Bible, is the inspired word of God. Yeah, magnetism and electricity everywhere. That's why I need to look into that whole electric universe theory, right? Because isn't that talk about that? Oh, Mr. Okel, for my area for my Area 51 fund after YouTube takes 80% of whatever. But thank you. I appreciate it. They take 30%, but I am thankfully not 80%, but thank you. I am grateful to everything that people want to send. And I think I've said it to you guys before. Like, to me, it blows my mind that anybody would want to send anything, that anybody would want to tip anything. So whenever you guys do, I'm always so like, I'm not faking it. I really am, like, taken aback. So thank you, Mr. Okel. Thank you so much for your kindness. In my Area 51 fun. I'm telling you, one of these days I'll make it over there. Like, just the desert just seems so mysterious and sci-fi to me. Magnetism would not work unless the center of the Earth is a magnet, as claimed. Meanwhile, we only have evidence for northern pole magnetism with a compass. And you know what? Not to dismiss things, but that's why I say, honestly, past the point, I don't care what's inside the Earth. I don't care the shape of the Earth. I don't care if the moon is made out of cheese. Um, It would be pretty cool, but I do like cheese. I know it's not healthy, but I like it. But because I just feel like all of this is there to make us fight. Because if there's so much fighting that goes on between globers and flat earthers, and not just that, all these different ideas, and and for me, I'm like, it doesn't really matter because I just feel like if you're fighting, you're distracted. And I'm like, that we're playing exactly into what they want, by debating all of this. And because some people really get deep into it where it just consumes them. And because I was talking to somebody about that, where they just felt like maybe they dedicated a little too much time to it, and then what does it matter past the point? So, and I feel like that's it. If they can keep us distracted, how does it go? Give them their bread and their circuses, and they'll be happy. So I feel like debating each other becomes part of those circuses. So that's why I kind of look, and I'm not trying to be dismissive, to anybody's view, but past the point, I'm like, I don't want to play into the distraction. Oh, hey, Tin Top. So John Davis, you used to be a UFO researcher. Wow. The phenomenon has to do with spiritual entities bent on deception. 100%. I am with you on that. So that's one of the things I'm like, I hope, I don't want to ever give the impression that like I am into that I'm falling into the occult, or that I'm totally like I want to communicate and channel these aliens or whatever, because I am of that mindset that it is spiritual deception. I find it interesting as a whole. I like to explore high strangeness. I love the sci-fi vibe, of the UFOs. I like the kitsch that's involved in it. But past the point, yeah, I do think it's deception. I agree 100%. Yeah, the desert. Breaking Bad really made me appreciate its beauty. Nice time lapse shots. I still have to watch Breaking Bad. Oh, your son's name is You know what? It ticks me off how much I say I can't. It's like where some people say my brain just goes to. I probably say but I say that too, and I'm like, and it makes me cringe every time I say it. But hey, I hope you know what. We'll pretend like I'm talking to your son. Fighting, yeah, divide to conquer, exactly. Because if we're distracted, they can do whatever they want to us. We won't know. I mean, I'm not saying drop your beliefs, but I think past the point, it doesn't become worth debating it. You should. Oh, my Venmo contact. Oh, thank you for asking. My Venmo contact. Yeah, because I don't get any fees taken out of that. I'll drop it in the chat. But my Venmo contact is. I feel awkward giving it out. Like I'm looking for something, but thank you for asking. It's Ashley dash Ash dash 5. That's what Venmo gave me. So I'm gonna put it in the chat. Thank you. Sorry, I'm catching up on this. Okay. Sorry, I was trying to find my place there. Okay. As soon as I wrote, guys, thinking Tin Top. Yeah, you predict you called him. You know what they say, calling something out. You called out Tin Top. you called him. When they what is it? Talk about calling evil unto yourself. Except I'm not calling you evil, Tin Top, but I'm saying you said Tin Top's name and he came. It's like Beetlejuice. Tin Top, Tin Top, Tin Top, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Okay, you missed an hour and a half. You'll catch up later. Well, thank you for catching up later, and thank you for joining us in the live chat. Yeah, I need to watch Breaking Bad, and also I want to watch Better Call Saul. But I gotta watch Breaking Bad first because somebody from my acting studio that I'm a part of is an alumni is in Better Call Saul. So I'm like, I want to see her work, but I'm like, I gotta watch Breaking Bad first. But I see everybody raving about Breaking Bad. I'm like, I need to do it, but I never get around to it. But AMC does put out some good TV, right? That's AMC. Magnetism has to do with the center of the Earth at the North Pole and the ether or upper atmosphere and the pattern of the stars. Nikola Tesla's work has connections to it. You know what? I've been hearing about Nikola Tesla being his history is very interesting. And I was listening to a podcast about it lately. And maybe I'm going off on a tangent, but this podcast was positing that Nikola Tesla was an occultist, and when he was like discovering all these different electrical things, he was finding that he basically found the connection between electricity and the spiritual world, and that's why when he died, why all his records were confiscated. But just an interesting tidbit on Nikola Tesla. Yeah, you missed me, Tin Top. You missed New York karaoke. New York State of Mind is really good. The sun is radiated light and heat, not a burning ball of gas burning in the void or vacuum of space. When I worked for steel mill that melted steel with electricity, it gave off radiation. Well, because heat, infrared heat, there's so many different sources of radiation, but the sun is radiated light and heat, not a burning ball of gas in the void. You know what? I don't know. I'm not trying to be dismissive. Remember, like I said, I just don't. I honestly, it's not that I'm attached to the idea of space and Earth and being a ball that I can't give it up. Some people are like, you can't. It's too much. Your brain can't fathom it. It's not that. It's just that for me, it doesn't really matter what the answer is, but I respect that, you know, there's a lot of research that goes into this, and there's a lot of thought, and people do bring up some really interesting information, and you do wonder why so much that comes out of NASA is simulated, why there's such a lack of information coming out of there. And it does make you wonder, does make you question a lot of things. But I sometimes wonder if all of this is deception because there's a lot more, or not deception, but it's kind of, they want us to think that there's a cover up going on so that we focus on what we think the cover up is instead that there's a secret space program happening. But you're saying that, or no, somebody, was it you, Michael, or no, somebody, or was it John that said that the cosmology of the Bible doesn't support space? Because to me that's a matter of interpretation. You have to look at, I haven't seen what the original Hebrew was, but I haven't seen anything, you know, that the earth is like situated with the four corners or something like that. I think certain things are figures of speech. I don't think the Bible blatantly, you know, says that the earth is flat or says that there's no space. I should set up a donation MetaMask, even better. Like, that would be cool, but like I feel, I don't know, it's hard. It's hard to I don't know. Like, everybody's been so kind and generous and amazing. I feel bad putting out there. I'm like, are people gonna think I'm asking for it? You know, that I'm, so that's why I always get nervous. I'm like, I don't want anybody to think that like I'm begging for it, but it would be cool, you know, to be able to set up something like that. So then I panic and I don't know what to do. Oh, well, thank you for asking. Yeah, and this is my Venmo contact. Thank you, Ada, for asking. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Well, how about, well, yours is a tongue twister. It is now, now, it is now, now, it is now, now. You in here, Brian? Better Call Saul might be even better. I keep hearing that Better Call Saul is better than Breaking Bad, but I do know I have to watch Breaking Bad first. Hey, Hex Hoddle. You made it. Yes, you did make it. So check out the Condon report at 68 through 69 about the UFO phenomenon. It was a government report on UFOs. The report concluded that there's no scientific explanation for the phenomenon. Yeah, and I think there is. You know what? Believing that it's a spiritual phenomenon, it would make sense that there's no scientific explanation for it. That's cool. I didn't realize there was a report that said it. But then I'm always wary of anything that comes out of the government. But I am of the belief that the UFO thing is a spiritual phenomenon. That it's a fallen angel thing. Oh, you just had your McDonald's and a double quarter pounder? Don't tell the vegans in here, Brian. Meaning, I'm not calling you Brian. Don't tell Brian. Randy Hilarski is live streaming right now too. Yes, meta donation Addie would be nice. Screw YouTube taking the cut off the time. Okay, thank you guys. You guys are making me feel better about that. So I guess I'll just do that and put that in my description. That would be cool. So, all right, thank you. I'm getting braver, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, it's like the same thing when it comes to the idea of a wedding registry. I'm like, whoa, so you get married and then you like put it out there, like you expect people to give you stuff? Like, it just can't wrap my head around that. And I know that that's like the traditional thing. So that's why I'm like, you know, I like can't wrap my head around putting it in an address and like expecting people to give you things. Like, I can't. But you guys are kind enough where I have to look into it, into that. That would be cool. It would be cool to see what happens. You're self-employed and you're working in research. Get paid. But is my research good enough to get paid? It would be cool. You know what? I just see how people, big channels, you know, make money off of YouTube and donations and ads, and that is a pretty cool thing. It's an amazing thing to aspire to. Like I said, it just freaks me out a little bit. Best use case for crypto. Freaks me out a little bit because I don't want to seem like I'm asking. That's what I mean. Though anything is appreciated, you know? There's a difference between science and scientism. Scientism derives from the occult and masquerades as science. Oh, and there is that documentary on scientism. I keep telling myself I need to watch it, and I keep forgetting because I have never heard of scientism before that. Um, so, and I wasn't sure because another part of my hesitation with watching the documentary is that I'm like, wait, is it completely dismissing science? Because I don't think science should all be dismissed. But so I wasn't sure what angle the documentary was coming out of. I was planning on watching it anyway. I never got around to it. But it's interesting that when you say that they are two different things. So scientism doesn't dismiss science. Okay, scientism is something that comes from the occult. Thank you so much for that clarification. Um, oh no, Hex Huddle. Did you really? You serve pork to Muslims? Oh no. They were mad. I could see where people would be very upset if that happened. Oh shoot. Stop making these trees so fun. I'll stop giving. Oh no, trust me. I appreciate the giving. I just, I'm just not one of those people that could ask and be like, everybody donate to my thing. I am so excited when I get it. But I feel bad asking, but I trust me, everything is like so appreciated, and it makes me so happy and excited. So thank you everybody for all the times everybody's been generous. Thank you so much. And twice in one stream for you, Mr. Okel. Thank you. Brian could eat the plant meat burgers. I don't think anybody should be eating the plant meat burgers, man. I do like a Beyond Burger, but I get that they're like junk food. But I just returned a pack of Beyond Burgers I bought from Costco, and I brought it back because I'm like, I can't eat this. It's got canola oil and everything. So I understand it's a vegan option, but man, better off just eating the straight up plants because the stuff they put in those burgers, pretty nasty and toxic. Come on, don't be modest. People make money off reacting to music and movies on here. They make bank. I know, it's amazing. I'm like, people make bank because I'm telling you, I'm looking for another job because self-employment is great, but the business that I was doing kind of faded out during COVID. So I'm like, I gotta figure something out. I'm like, it would be awesome to get paid, to react to silly things. Like some people like really just found their niche on YouTube. People like make money with the recipes and cooking. I am not knowledgeable on that, so I don't know what my niche would be. But this is fun. I do enjoy this. But I know it's wild. They really do. Like there's those twins, right? That just react to all these like all this music they've never heard of, and they just record themselves reacting to it. And I think they made enough money where they bought a house together, and they're like young guys. I don't know if they're like 18, 19, 20. And they just made it through reacting to music. Okay, black bean burgers, yes. When you are making veggie burgers out of real stuff, not that fake meat, they do taste good. The entire first chapter of Genesis excludes the possibility of outer space because the chapter teaches an enclosed created world and is supported by the rest of the Bible. I need to look further into that because I've read through Genesis before and I never saw anything that pointed in that direction, but maybe I need to read through it with that in mind, Scientism is treating science as religion. They do wear white coats and ask for blind submission. Oh, I keep saying, making myself sick thinking about that. But and I always refer to these past 2 years, and I try not to use any red flag terms on here, but it was cult-like religious behavior, the worship of science through these past few years. And you know how like the Catholics have papal infallibility? The medical field seems to have become infallible. Oh, they asked for the special, and the special was pork. Oh, I get it now. What happened? Hexadal. Oh, okay. I see. It was oh, that's interesting. I don't know enough about what the Quran says about their pork restrictions. Creating valued content on YouTube really exposed how scammy our education is. Isn't it amazing that you can get an entire education off YouTube? And there are websites where you can get free or kind of college courses, like abbreviated college courses. What is it, like Coursera and CourseX? There's one on Biosphere 2, and I believe it's Arizona. And there's a whole class on it that explains kind of the history of it and just different things and concepts in biology. And then when you finish this free course, you get like a free membership to visit Biosphere 2, which is cool. I would love to go visit that biosphere. There's actually a documentary on the history of it because I think it was like founded by a cult. But it's so true. The amount of information out there on the internet, you really can get a better education than what you're getting in schools or colleges. It's amazing. Bacon is so good. I have to admit, I did eat some bacon tonight. I used to stay away from pork, but my thoughts changed on that, and I've had some bacon, especially I'm trying to be a little more carnivore. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Brian. Thanks for the stream. Very, very entertaining as always. And thank you for being here, and thank you for your kindness. Thank you. See, look, everybody's making me blush. I appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you, Brian. So Clintrons is that name cracks me up. Clintrons? Is that what I think it is? You got to jump, but it's been fun. Catch y'all later. So thank you for being here tonight. You've been to Biosphere 2 twice. So it is as cool as it looks. I need to finish watching that documentary. It started it. I never finished it. It's on Hulu. I don't have Hulu anymore. Well, I was borrowing a friend's. Hulu. So I guess I can continue borrowing his. He's got the Hulu without the ads. But I want to visit. There's so many things out in the Southwest that I want to visit. Amen, John Davis. There are over 200 verses in the Holy Bible. I'm not even counting all the verses from the scrolls that are not included in the Bible. My opinion is aliens or ETs are from our realm. You know, there's some people that think that they come from inside the earth, which also, I guess, is the fallen angel connection, that they're in our realm, but they're fallen angels, you know, so that they're not interdimensional demonic type thing, but that they're in the same dimension, that they're in our realm, but they live inside the earth because they're part of the Nephilim that were cast into the earth. That's another theory I've heard, which is interesting. Oh my gosh, so much faux made up science now. And they're infallible, just like the Pope, right? Everything they say you have to agree with. It truly is. Yeah. It truly is, Ada, a religious thing the past few years. And, you know, and what was said before about white coats, it's like they even have their robes and everything. It really is wild when you step back and look at the way things are. Like everybody's completely lost the plot. As long as you build an audience, you create value and YouTube pays for it. College not needed, period. College is a scam. I mean, there are certain things that specialize, and you do need it to a certain extent. Like, had I wanted to stay teaching in New York State, so I have my master's because that was what you needed to teach. So I had no other choice. I decided not to be a teacher, but for those that are, there is no avoiding college for certain professions. But for most professions, like, there's so much better training you can get. Like, my friend is an audio engineer. She could have went into a collegiate program, but she ended up just doing a technical program and coming out with the same type of same type of experience and everything. So it really is a moneymaker because colleges are for-profit institutions. You know, they're not, I mean, there are some non-for-profit colleges, but for the most part, they are there to make money. So even like these bogus degrees like gender studies, like, do you really need a degree to figure out what you believe about gender? Like, I know that people have so many different ideas, but you can just come up with your theories by reading books and Twitter, right? You really need 4 years of it. So there's so many BS degrees out there. I don't know. Was gender studies offered at my school? I don't even know now. Proponents of scientism are the priests of academia and speak in scientific language, but are like the wandering stars cited in the Book of Jude because of their unreliability in opposition to science. And it's amazing. It's amazing when you look at it that way, that they're proponents of scientism. They want to pretend that they're all pro science, but everything they do is anti science. Like, think about all the anti scientific things that have happened and that are supposedly follow the science. But when you actually look at science, no, it's become a religion. It's become a cult, truly. And I always refer to these past users as an example because they are an example for everything. And look, everybody has like this religious fervor toward quote unquote science, not real science. Because when you present the real science, it's like, no. It's like a cat in water. But it's truly more than ever. I see how it's become a religion, how it's become a cult. Oh yeah, college is a complete joke nowadays. Oh my gosh. It was a joke when I went. It's even more of a joke now. And I didn't go that long ago. Yeah. And it's an expensive joke. Yes. Tin Top says someone told me at Biosphere that they saw a line of ants crawling up the outside through a crack in one of the panels and back down inside. They discovered paradise in the desert. Guess it's not. Well, I guess now technically it's not like a sealed biosphere, but didn't it have its issues with leaks? No, it had issues with CO2. So it was completely. Oh, so wait, yeah, okay. But I guess now it's old and cracking and things are getting in there. But it's true, yeah, they found their oasis, the ants. Oh my gosh. I wish I had thought to unbox toys as an adult. Yeah. Or would that be creepy? Should I be no? I don't worry, I won't. I'm just kidding. If college is a scam, I agree. Why would you want to get the courses online for free? Because I believe that the idea of paying for it is a scam, but there are certain courses where you can get some pretty cool information in it. Like if you do want to go into in-depth study on literature, then there's some great classes that do that. So, you know what I mean? So the concept of paying, the idea that you have to have it to be successful, I believe is a scam. And not all the free college courses are worth it. But I saw a class that explored sci-fi literature. I'm like, cool, why not? I want to talk about sci-fi lit. I want to be introduced to new things. Then I think it's good for that type of thing. You know what I mean? I would love to enhance the Italian that I know. And, a free college course would be a good way to do that. So for things like that, that's what I mean. Exactly. That's free. You need a 4-year degree in gender studies to be thoroughly brainwashed. Oh, you need a 4-year degree in anything now to be brainwashed. They will even use biology to brainwash you. They will use chemistry, whatever tactics they can do, because they are intended to be indoctrination facilities, because you affect the youth, then you change the future. Trying to learn a bit of every subject is futile. You mean being all over the place? But it's cool to be curious and to just learn different things for the sake of just your human curiosity. I think it's fun to just pick and choose little things, not necessarily that you're trying to be a jack of all trades, but just, I don't know. I never got to study physics. I chose some other classes, but it would be interesting to learn some physics. But then I know there's debate about physics, but that aside. Anyone want to comment on the sucks degrees of separation? Anyone feels like it's... Oh, is that 6? Oh, the 6 degrees of separation. It's like the 6 degrees of separation. Anyone feels like it's shrinking? Well, it's interesting because whenever I think about the 6 degrees of separation, it always feels like there's closer, that it doesn't ever take 6 degrees for a lot of people that you think about. I do love that the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, where they call it that. And I've met Kevin Bacon. So does that make me 1 degree of separation? But I'm not his friend. I just casually met him. I got off the train one day and he was filming in my town. Film school sounds interesting, but once again can be self-taught. Exactly. I actually signed up for a course somewhere. It was really inexpensive. It was $100 and it covered like all these different things about film school. It has sections covering lighting. It has stuff on editing. It has stuff on color correcting. So in depth. It even has stuff on writing. It has stuff on cinematography. It covered everything. I had started going through it last year, but there was so much in there, and I kind of got tossed aside. But I want to go back and learn it because, like, you know, I can use better lighting and I can use lighting tips. And that had like it was like an entire curriculum for maybe $100 I paid and really covered everything. And it's amazing because it was a whole film school for $100 and it sounds like a scam, but when you go in there, like, oh my gosh, the amount of information in here is absolutely incredible. And there you go. You weren't going to get a 4-year degree out of it. It was just there to educate you so you can make your own content and you can get started in filmmaking. And they touched on everything in there. They even touched on acting in there. So, and it's true. So look at that. Such a huge, vast education. And they even gave you like a place to network over Facebook for such a small amount of money. Or maybe it was 150, but you get what I mean? Yeah, you didn't need the whole 4-year degree. Learn math and skills. Really, that's all it comes down to. As long as you know how to read, as long as you know math, then everything else branches out from there. Because if you know how to read, then you can study history. You know, if you can do math, then you can do a bunch of other things. You know, you can do carpentry, you can do stuff with cooking and conversions and all those different types of things. Learn how to make money, then learn other less useless stuff. Okay, so you're saying first learn the things that'll make you money. The internet is shrinking to 6 degrees. Yeah, I can see that. It kind of feels more like a 4 degrees of separation now, doesn't it? The biggest fraud of the priest of scientism is the belief in a spinning globe, the heliocentric globe Earth flying through an endless outer space model of the universe, which enables idolatry. But you see, I don't see how those two things are linked to idolatry. But maybe that's because I'm not, even though I do believe that, I'm not an adherent of scientism. So is that why? But you know, you're piquing my interest. I need to watch that scientism documentary to kind of understand the cult-like behavior of it. Learn how to do crypto right, then learn and create for fun. Yeah. Are you saying, yeah, you're saying I need to do more of my own research and not just buy my crypto and abandon it? Yeah. 4 degrees is possible. Bugged out when you said your folks know my brother. Yeah, right. It really is a small world. I know that was wild because when you told me where your brother worked, I was like, oh, well, then my parents who go there have to know him, right? And then they did. I asked them and they did. So it's true. It really is a small world. And, you know, I wonder how many other connections are on this chat like that. But it's always interesting, those things that come up. Or how you can like meet somebody in a crowd and then like keep running into them. Or like be down in the city and then constantly run into people you know from the suburbs. It really is strange how small the world is in that way. But 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon is now 4 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Actually seen him a bunch of times in Westchester because he appeared at the Alamo Draft House because he lives local. Saw him a screening of Tremors. I had never seen Tremors in its entirety. I'd only ever seen clips as a kid. Went to the Tremor screening and he came in after and talked about Tremors and maybe did a Q&A. It was so casual because he's from here. And it's amazing in terms of that happening in New York City a lot because it's such a small world, but yet it's such a big city population wise, but yet you just happen to run into people like constantly. Or even when you go out to a different city. My dad and I were in Nashville about 6 years ago, and we were in a candy store. My dad saw somebody he knew from work. What are the chances? It's really crazy. Some people call that divine appointments. Or, oh, this was a wild one, speaking of divine appointments, because this guy uses divine appointments and not. You know how they built that recreation of Noah's Ark outside of Cincinnati? Has anyone been there? Because I went, and this entire ark is made to be life size according to biblical measurements, and it's massive. So even if you know somebody in there, it's very unlikely that you will be in the same room at the same time. But yet, I was there, from New York. I was out there visiting friends, and then I ran into my pastor and her husband. We were standing in the same room in the Ark, who were also from New York. We would just both happen to be outside Cincinnati at that time, at that exhibit, at that specific time, in that room, out of that whole massive Ark. So wild how that works out. Schools only indoctrinate and want you to regurgitate what they deem is correct. Yet they don't teach cursive writing anymore. The Declaration of Independence is written in cursive. Yes, I've heard that theory. And the more I see, the more I completely believe it. I mean, it made sense when I saw it. But then as you look more and more at the erasure of history, then you're like, oh, it's completely intentional. They try to act like, oh, it's unnecessary, you don't need it now with computers or whatever, but it is so quick and easy to teach cursive. It doesn't take up a lot of time in the curriculum, so it really doesn't need to be eliminated. What's the point? And really, you can, if you don't want to use a lot of time out of your curriculum with it, you can reinforce it with homework. And I know homework's another debate, but we learned it in 3rd grade. I was in Catholic school. And then by the time 4th grade came around, so we learned cursive completely in class in 3rd grade. And then in 4th grade, they would just reinforce it with the homework. So there it goes. There's not much to teach in cursive, but yet they're so against teaching it now. And it's wild that kids can't read cursive. That's just mind blowing to me. Or they can't read clocks, analog clocks, or don't know how to write a check. All of that stuff was covered in school. And I'm relatively young, so I wasn't in school that long ago, but they were teaching us cursive. They were teaching us analog clocks. They taught us how to write checks. We had a workbook and they had fake checks in there and we had to fill it out. They would show us how to fill out an envelope, how to write a proper letter, all these classic skills. But then all of a sudden, within, I don't know, 20 years, that was gone and they weren't teaching it anymore. It's very strange and totally intentional. Make a helpless population. Yeah, exactly. We still have kids, cars, and you teach kids how to walk. Yeah, so it's such a strange argument to say we have computers, you don't need cursive. You don't run into friends because you don't have any, but we're your friends, right? So maybe we'll run into you. Biblical cosmology keeps the mind on God of creation, God of the Bible, whereas heliocentrism, the sun being the focus and center of the universe, encourages belief in other gods. Oh, okay. So it's almost like just a programming of your mind to be more apt to accept other gods. Okay, I got what you're saying. Because I don't believe in other gods, because I don't fall into that, because I do believe in the God of the universe. I guess that's why I couldn't wrap my head around that at first, but I see what you're saying. I mean, I don't feel like the two are connected, but I can see how people, I see what you're saying though, because it becomes almost a programming. Count change, yes. Though I have to say, when I was in college, grad school, working in a pizzeria, I couldn't do the counting change under pressure. It completely warped my mind. So sometimes some people just can't process it well. But now I can. Now it makes sense. But it's interesting. They taught us how to count up with money and to count all the change and how much everything was worth. That was taught to us. But the reverse of counting backwards when you're giving change wasn't quite taught to us and threw me off, when I was working in a pizzeria. Is that stereotypical for New York? But it's interesting because I have seen where kids don't know how much a quarter is worth or a dime is worth, and the fact that they're not teaching, they used to give us the little plastic ones and have you play with play money in order to figure things out. It's weird. It's really, but it's really intentional. But that's the thing. Schools, people think you can reform schools, that you can wipe a school board, that you can change things, but you can't, because in the end, schools are always going to be government owned. If if you are of the mindset where you don't believe that the government is there for our good, because of course they never have been, then why would that be any different from schools? Why would you put your child's minds in the hands of the government? And when you are putting your children in school, that's what you're doing. And not only public schools, private schools too, because they still have to have a curriculum that lines up with the state curriculums. Even though they can do their own things, to a certain extent, they are still relying on that guidance. Yeah, your kid might be a little better off, but it's still connected to the government curriculum. So because of that, it's all intentional. It's an intentional changing in programming of the future, because if you affect the younger generations, then you can affect the future generations, which reminds me, Project Veritas just did a video on it. Put aside your feelings about Project Veritas, politically, because I know they have stuff that's political, but just look at what they're uncovering right now about what's going on at the schools and how schools are intentionally trying to mold minds in a certain way. They actually got people on camera admitting to that. Okay, you see, that's even though my brain doesn't do math very well, even though I have problems counting up, you see, if the register told me to change, I can figure that out. I wouldn't need a calculator. I can't comprehend them having to bring out the calculator, even though the register's already telling them to change. But that's a product of the educational system. That's a product of government schools. That's what schools are. They're indoctrination facilities. Stick shift is an anti-theft device. Yeah, I am happy to say I did. So my friend did teach me to drive a stick shift. But yeah, but there's definitely less of that now. Definitely rare. Steve Munichin. I never know how to pronounce it. Munichin didn't even write his name in the USR in cursive. He's an idiot. A real tard in the treasury. Oh, I did notice that. I think I did. I was looking at him like, oh, this guy didn't do it in script. That's different. But I never gave him much thought. But is this guy young or is he old? Because if he is young, then you could be like, that's product of the educational system. That's weird. I'm gonna look it up now, because that's why would he sign his name in print? Or is that like some sort of sign? Oh, come on. This guy is 59 years old and he's printing his name. And signatures are signatures, regardless of whether you draw a sailboat, that's still your signature. So he could have just squiggled and we know that would have been his signature, but he had to print it. No, that is just like such a perfect sign of the direction we're headed educationally. Same with the safety. Hey, I like the safety. I think safety is a good thing. Are you saying that safety shouldn't be a thing? Because no safety makes me paranoid, because I'm like, what if my clothes catch on something and accidentally? But I know the pull force, the draw force, I forget the name of it. Trigger pound force, pound print. You know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to be like discreet as to what I'm saying, but I'm failing. So I'll just stop there. Oh, thank you, Mr. Okel, for the super sticker. Thank you. Everybody's so nice to me tonight. I appreciate it. Have you seen vids from Justin A1 on YouTube asking people simple questions? No, but I've seen it on Twitter. And I am like, okay, I look at it and I'm like, did he ask 100 people? But this is just the 1% of the 100 that just doesn't know, or that many people that's stupid. And then as time is going on, I'm starting to think that maybe that many people are clueless. Because if you have a clueless population, then you can do whatever you want to them. Then you have a population of sheep that can be easily herded. Yeah, Mr. Okel is awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Okel. Oh, and you did it again. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I know I used the term I appreciate it a lot, but that's the only way I can put it, because it means a lot to me that you guys are so kind to me and so generous. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Okel, for your multiple donations. And thank you, Brian, for yours too. So you guys are all making me smile. Yes. Sharp, deliberate dumbing down of a. Oh, was that the name of a book? Okay, so I was agreeing with the statement, but that sounds where it truly is. It truly is a deliberate dumbing down. And when I used to teach biology, I just saw so many things that were like, things that should be common knowledge and they're not. Um, or even like the unwillingness to read short things. And it's like it's not that hard. You reading being asked to read a few pages, you shouldn't act like it's the end of the world. But maybe there's not a ton of reading that goes on. I don't know. It really warps me. I hated teaching. I really disliked teaching for multiple reasons. I didn't like doing the same thing every day, but I didn't like that there was a deliberate dumbing down that there, that you couldn't ask kids to do simple things without complaining. Not just because they're kids and they wanted to be lazy, but because like they legit, oh, read a few pages. What the heck? That tells me that they're not being told to read a lot. That there's lowered expectation, lower standards, and there's also not the support at home. And let me tell you, I was in a really good district too. So you can't blame it on other circumstances. It's a well-funded district, but it's deliberate, 100% deliberate. I need to see this movie, Idiocracy. I've heard a lot of people talk about it. Ada says parents should educate their own kids. These days, it's like handing your kids over to the mentally insane. Let me tell you, I always say that, Ada. I always say that parents look more into who's babysitting their kids. They investigate it all. And, they're very careful with maybe who they leave their kids with. But yet they just mindlessly will hand their children over to a teacher and just be like, here, without much thought behind it, because they're expecting somebody else to vouch them. But I'm like, you just were more concerned with the babysitter than who you're putting your kids with. How many hours a day? Let's say the school I went to started at 8:20, the Catholic school, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. So 6 hours a day. Parents don't sit back and realize that they're putting, you don't know who these people are that you put in your kids in their hands for 6 hours a day. They have complete influence on you. And then when you add in parents working, coming home at a certain time, after school activities, and the kids sitting down with homework for hours, how many hours is the parent actually getting per night? 1 or 2? So somebody else is having way more influence than the parent over the child. And that's concerning. They truly, it really is important educating your own children. And listen, I'm not knocking anybody that puts their kids in schools, because I understand that there is not a choice for some people. Some people don't understand, but the people that do understand and choose not to, because there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, they do understand that schools can be problematic. But they think, oh, we can change the schools. We can wipe the school board. No, in the end, it's always a government school. But on top of that, there are parents who are like, yeah, but they don't want to give up their second income because they want to keep their luxuries. They want to keep going to Europe every summer, and they want to keep the nice cars. They're not willing to make those sacrifices that are involved with educating your own children. So those are the parents, say we shouldn't judge, but those are the parents I judge. The parents who know that there's a problem, know they should educate their own children. Because like I said, I understand not everybody's in the position to be able to. No judgment if you cannot, absolutely not. But the parents who know better but choose their luxuries over their children because they don't want to give up their second income, then that's where I look and be like, and then I'm like, what are you doing? Absolutely not. And handing your kids over to the insane, let me tell you, I hope nobody I see works, who I used to work with sees this, the ones that I liked, because it's not about you guys, if you did hear it, but teachers are very unhinged. I didn't like hanging around them. A lot of them are not like normal people. They really were warped. There was just something about them. And, I guess you could say, hey, Ashley, you're kind of warped. You used to be a teacher. There you go. But there is just, I feel like it attracts the most abnormal people who have issues. I don't know if it's a control thing. I don't know if it's a power thing. But the people educating your children are not normal. And I've had teachers on multiple occasions come at me like an animal, completely act like an animal. And I'm like, these are the people you're leaving your children with who are having the most influence on your children. So 100%, I am with you on this. Oh, they definitely don't teach how to balance a checking account in school. Thankfully, it's pretty straightforward, but it's so hard not to become reliant on your bank app. I have a friend who still even takes her debit card transactions and writes them down in her ledger and balances her own checkbook. And I'm like, why would you do that instead of just using the app? So I'm pretty sure we bank with the same bank. And she's like, I've actually found discrepancies where they owed me money through this, and I was able to get it. I'm like, that is amazing. But it's a lost art. Nobody does that anymore. Yeah, I have thought about that. That's true. Oh, 100%. And let me tell you, I took a film and video production class in high school, my senior year as an elective, and they played us Pink Floyd's The Wall. We watched that whole movie in that. And that song very much resonated with me because I was not a kid that liked school. I did well enough. I did the minimum. Um, but I never was interested in going above and beyond because I saw school for what it was. I hated it, yet I went into teaching and got 2 degrees. But that song resonated with me so well, and I still to this day I'm like, that is such an accurate look at the school system. Hey, David Lee. Gosh, second time it's been mentioned in the chat. I really do have to check that out. It sounds right up my alley. Crimes of the Educators is another book that explains the dumbing down. Oh, good. I'm glad people are writing books on it because there's so many other books, written in this opposite way. So I'm glad to see this side of it. The nice thing about learning solid risk management practices is that it's a template that can be used to manage all perceived risks. Perception's still a problem, but you get the point. Yeah, but here's the thing. This is the stuff they should be teaching children, right? But nobody does. They just teach all the useless stuff. But yeah, good point. More judgment is required. It's all you have to guide your ship toward better futures. And let me tell you, there's such a lack, and you guys know that, of judgment and logic nowadays, more than ever. Check out The Biggest Lie on Earth, Proof That Our World is Not a Spinning Globe by Edward Hendry. Okay, thank you guys for all these suggestions. I appreciate it. And for anybody watching the replay, so I have the suggestions up on here so that I can go back and reference this later on, and if anyone wants to see it. But anybody watching the replay, if you give it like maybe about 12 hours or by tomorrow morning, the replay should be available to see so that you guys can also see these suggestions. I'm sorry, the live chat will be available to see in the replay, probably in 12 hours or 8 hours, it should come up. So if anyone wants to see all the suggestions that are happening in the chat, in case I've missed anything, but I'm trying to put it on the screen too. I've heard of Faculty, have not seen it, but that's been one of the things where I really need to see Faculty. 90s classic, right? I'll accept don't judge as a speaker of these most interesting words. Commit to a lifetime of keeping your doors unlocked. Judgment is required to not suck at life. Gotcha. I see what you're saying there. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, judgment. Judging and judgment, I feel like are two different things. You know what I mean? Homeschool all the way. I really think that's the way to go. And for parents that can't homeschool, a lot of people are getting together in homeschool groups or cooperatives. If you absolutely don't have the ability to educate your kid, people drop their kids off in these homeschool pods and these homeschool groups. Somebody else is doing the homeschooling, but you find other ways to contribute for parents that can't take off work, that absolutely need it. Like I've seen parents, I don't know, like teach special subjects after work. Like, okay, I know these skills, I know these trades. I can teach all the kids after this time when I come home from work. Because also homeschool doesn't necessarily have to happen on a normal schedule. Oh, there's so much we can talk about homeschool. And I was not homeschooled. My parents didn't know better. They understand it now, but back then, they made the best choices that they could with the information that they knew. And I have to say, I went to some really excellent schools. But they had their problems too. But especially now, that I'm sure now that they're completely different and completely warped now. But homeschool, if you can do it, that is the way to go. Because also kids come out of homeschool a lot more advanced. Oh, another one, NEA, Trojan horse in the American education system. Ooh, I like that. Those unions are strange. Really a lot of weirdness happening in those teachers' unions. Oh, am I losing my voice as I'm speaking? Because I'm talking too much? I spent 2 summers substitute teaching middle school and high school. It was fun. Lesson plans were insanely incompetent. We covered lessons from germs, guns, and steals. Nobody noticed. School sucks. I guess it all do. Yeah, when it comes to subs and what they're covering, really depends on the district. I've been a sub in some districts where it's just like babysitting because they don't want you teaching it. They want the teachers to teach. But it depends on the district that you go to when it comes to incompetence with the lesson plans. My district that I worked in was very good with keeping on top of the curriculum. Problem comes with the fact that the curriculum comes from the government, so it's always going to be flawed. I was expecting to be relieved from duties after disregarding plans. Turns out they just hope someone shows up. But pathetic. Because that's what substitute teaching is, glorified babysitting. And I'm sorry, I'm going to try to catch up now, guys. Okay, so that author's dad was in Scotland. Oh, that's an interesting background. Hey, thoughts, child. No, it's all good. Pulse contact. Oh, so you're going? Did it end up working out? It was Aesthetic Cosmology, Earth on a Globe. Oh, so many great thank you. So many great suggestions tonight, guys. Because look, even though I think Earth is a globe, I'm interested in hearing a different perspective. So I appreciate you sending these to me. Higher level education is an oxymoron, I gotta say. A lot of stupidness. And I went to a grad school, which is considered one of the top ones in the country, somewhere, I don't know exactly where it ranked, at least at the time it was. And you think that this higher level of education, getting your master's, that it's so much harder and in depth. And to tell you the truth, it really wasn't. It was tedious, but it wasn't like anything more advanced. So that's when I realized that. I mean, I always knew school was a joke, but I'm like, wait, even your master's is a joke too. I mean, the level of education happening in it. And like I said, I was at a good school. I wasn't at some school that just threw a degree at you. Let's see. Sorry, I'm almost caught up. Bit Vanessa's, I'm judging you all right now. I just find you all favorable. Well, thank you for that judgment. Oh yeah, better here than some Bitcoin chat. I know I am horrendous. Let me tell you, I think I looked at my, my text, the number bubble that comes up in the text, and it says like 700 and something. I really am terrible at getting in contact with. Don't take it personally. I eventually do. It's a little overwhelming sometimes, DMing and messages. It's my brain doesn't always can't always focus on that, but I do eventually get to them. Oh, thank you for putting my socials up, Hexhodl. You know the ancient Chinese secret? I don't know what that means. I know. I'm terrible. I will get back on the ball. I truly will. Have a big family event coming up that's been that we've all been focused on. So I've been a little distracted. But I truly will start being better with DMs and messages. If you want easy out on flat earth, when pressed on the topic, just say, I'm not married to the ball, and they have to move on. Those are the rules. Okay, all right. Lost history of flat earth and what on earth happened. Total about 10 to 15 hours. Can't remember, but if you're open to it, there's fire. Okay. Like I said, I'm open to learning. I just haven't seen anything that convinces me. Too young to get that one? Okay. I'll take that compliment. Here in Australia, many of the teachers that I know are all getting out. Interesting. So even in Australia, it's an issue. I was just commenting that the school that I worked with, so many teachers have gotten out. I'm like, that looks like a completely different school. And these aren't like ancient teachers. These are teachers that I guess could retire. And instead of like waiting longer and letting their retirement grow, they just said, forget it. I'm out of there. A lot of people. I can't get over the amount of, I'm like, they're just cutting and running. It used to be some people would just like stay years in there and just be old and let their retirement like really grow. But now they're like out of there. And I don't blame them. It's not a nice environment. The guy's voice on that long one is epic. See, it's always nice to have a good narration voice. Check out Terraforma. Earth is not a planet. Well, it's an interesting title. Earth is not a planet. So it's just a plane, right? Is that what he's saying? If it's not a planet? Well, that's your favorite. Okay. TV commercial from the 70s or 80s, too old to remember. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Yep. Definitely I'm too young for that one. Are you guys saying that you're all old people in here? I'm teasing. I don't age discriminate. But oh wow, we've been going almost 2.5 hours. Teachers are running because they're being chased out. They can control the younger, more indoctrinated replacements. You know what? That new Project Veritas thing did address that. They did a hidden camera thing on the Greenwich assistant principal, and they basically saying that they don't want to hire older teachers because they're set in their ways. They want these younger teachers that are more likely to indoctrinate. And Project Veritas is calling this a victory. They're like, it's cool now. He's like on some sort of suspension now. And it was because of what we did. And yes, look at this victory. But I don't think Project Veritas completely understands enough that that's not kind of it's a victory, but it's not a complete victory. Because here's what they do. These people have tenure. They cannot be fired. But if they can't go back to work, they basically rubber room them, which means you get a cubicle somewhere. You still get paid your whole salary, but you get paid to sit all day, read, eat snacks, and watch Netflix. So I'm like, that sounds like a pretty good gig. So, Project Veritas is like, woohoo, we got this guy out. But I'm like, you didn't get him completely out. You rubber roomed him, which is cool. At least he's not calling the shots, but he still gets to collect his salary and everything. Shoot. Like, give me tenure. Let me say something stupid, and then let me get rubber roomed. The district that I worked in had a teacher who was rubber roomed for being inappropriate with minors, and couldn't remove him. He's tenured, so he gets to sit in the district office all day in this little tiny cubicle that they gave him. Maybe he makes photocopies for them. I don't know, because there is a photocopy department in this district, but he gets paid to basically just bring a book and watch snacks. Can you imagine? I would do so much reading. Start a blog. I don't know what I would do. And getting paid these teacher salaries. But I mean, because especially if he's these people that have been there a long time make a pretty decent salary. It's like around here they start at 65. So, you got many years in, it grows pretty quickly. Which I know 65 starting for having a master's isn't a lot, but I think it does grow fast. I mean, to me, it's not worth the money they pay. Wouldn't want that job. I looked at Archaic's channel. I can't get into it. Yeah. If it's best to start with the children, then you really have to start with who teaches them. And here's the thing. I saw that during my master's. There was an indoctrination that went on of teachers, and I looked at it. I'm like, shoot, they're indoctrinating teachers so that the teachers turn around and indoctrinate children. It's a pattern. And the children grow up and then spread this indoctrination stuff into the world. It's really incredible. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up. Okay, here's another suggestion. 200 biblical reasons Earth is not a spinning ball. Oh, I'm gonna go with what was it? Bit Finesse said, "I'm not married to the globe." That's my answer. But no, I do appreciate your the resource suggestions. I didn't see anything offensive with your comment. I'm just skimming so that I can catch up. So yeah, and this was your comment. No, I didn't take offense. But I think it's the way the world is set up. Sorry guys, I'm just catching up on this. It's sad that we have to worry about talking about boys and girls and how we think they're different. I totally get you, Bit Finesse. But the thing is there truly are differences in the brains of females and males. So there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that there's a different way we look at the world, and approach the world, and different responsibilities required of each. I mean, I know it's not politically correct to say now, but I do believe that's the truth. Huh. Really? Nowhere in Australia? Because here that was only in certain districts did that. Certain cities had that requirement. And I think they had fired a bunch of teachers in some West Coast district. And then ended up having to rehire them back. And people they should get all that back pay. But wow, so that's a countrywide thing. But it still only counts for a small amount of teachers that are at now. Wow. That's disturbing that was on a countrywide level. Says the biology teacher. Oh, okay. So I'm like, wait, are you saying you disagree? You agree? No, but I mean, truly, our brains are different. We look at the world differently. I don't mean that one is more correct than the other. I just think we're just wired differently. We have different pathways in our brain. It's like that concept of when you look at a little boy and a little girl playing, that little boys will play more with sounds and boom, boom, and then when you look at a little girl playing, she'll make it conversational. It's amazing. It just comes down to different wiring in the brain and different perspectives. And I remember I had a little trouble with microbiology in college, and my professor, I can't believe he said this at such a progressive school. He's like, well, that's because the way women's brains works. Women don't visualize things in certain ways or can't visualize it as well. And I found it kind of offensive in college, I guess, because I was annoyed because I was just annoyed with the class. But there are certain differences, and I'm not afraid to admit that. Unless it gets my channel taken away. But yeah, I won't get too much though into the controversy of it. Yeah, exactly. There's different powers, there's different strengths and different weaknesses. And that's why men and women just complement each other, working together. It just makes one big force all together. Strengths and weaknesses do come together in a perfect way. Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure, Torin, if you were getting all gender ideology on me and being like, excuse me, Ashley, what did you just say? I haven't seen the Orville. I'm surprised the Orville is addressing that. Network TV. Yeah, and this is definitely a debate for people, but I mean, just look at the world around you. You don't need. I know it's such a hot topic in gender ideology, that whole debate, but just look at how everybody functions. People want to say it's programmed by society, but like you look at children who some people want to say, oh, they've been influenced by society, but no, but they haven't. Just the way that they play is different, and it's just it's so clear. It's very interesting. That is something built into our genetics, the X chromosome and XY. And yes, I'm not talking about those people that have other chromosomal abnormalities, but it has to present in other ways besides genitals, and that those chromosomes, and apparently they present in the way the brain works too. Oh, John Davis, are you really trying to convert me? trying to pull me over to your side? Um, I I just I I'm not very good with debating and explaining my position. But I just haven't seen it presented in the right way to convince me, and I haven't had my own questions answered about how certain things would be possible in a flat Earth. I haven't seen anything to address that yet, so that's why I'm just not there. Like I said, if somebody presented something to me in the correct way, it's not that I can't let go of this. I totally could. I just haven't seen what I wanted to, presented to me in that way. So, ooh, it's past midnight. We are into Sunday now. But thank you guys for being here and sticking with us. The numbers have stayed up this whole time. I was thinking that with everybody going out to Vegas, that people, that nobody would want to be in the chat tonight. But it's been awesome that you guys have showed up and have stuck with me through these 2.5 hours. So thank you guys for all being here. Can you ask a question? Did I say ask? Are you making fun of me? Did I say? But now I'm wondering, I'm wondering, did I say something weird in my Northeastern accent? Now you have me question everything. Or are you genuinely asking me a question? Human hex trafficker. Oh, sorry, I thought you were someone else for a moment. Vegas waste of monies. That's hex DCA monies. Some people, I mean, maybe it's debatable. It's debatable. I guess people do have to have their enjoyments too in life, and I guess this is an escape for a lot of people. Personally, if I had the ability to go out there, my goal right now is I would probably be putting in hacks. I do want to buy more hacks. So that's where my priorities are. But I know everybody has different priorities and stuff. And I hope that everybody's out there has a wonderful time and that there's great networking that goes on and learning that comes out of it. And hopefully an Area 51 trip. How big your cankles are my ankles? I do not have cankles. I'm not going to lift up my leg here, but I do not. Also, this camera is deceiving. Makes me look heavier. But no, I have normal ankles. Thank you for asking. When moon? I know that is my question too. No, when is it going to be released? And then when moon? Oh, that's why you're asking. I thought you were just being silly. Hex trafficker. But no, you're going to have to go somewhere else for cankles because there are no cankles on me. Never heard a New Yorker say they have a Northeastern accent. Is that like saying you're not married to the globe? Yeah. I know because a New York accent has a certain connotations to it. So I'm like, I speak like I'm from the Northeast, I like to say. But then I don't want people to think that means that I sound like I'm from Boston because Boston accents are intense. Very intense. Yeah. Yeah, but just thinking deeply, considering pondering. Yeah, no, I'm definitely open to pondering and thinking about it. And thank you for opening up the dialogue about it. It is. They should have a hex convention over there for you guys. Oh, but that is definitely a long flight. And I would guess expensive too. Oh, bye, my online ghost. Thanks for coming in tonight. Or the Berkshires. What, the Berkshires have an accent? I know people used to pronounce it the Berkshires. We're going up to the Berkshires. I don't know. So that's become a joke in our house. When we say the Berkshires, we always go the Berkshires. Yeah, shout out to Vegas. Everybody's in Vegas. I hope you all have a good time. Yeah, I'd be buying more hacks if it was me, but that's just because I haven't hit my hex goals. But I am so happy for everyone who has the ability to be out there. I mean, trust me, if I could try, I can't wait till we do get a moon, so I can travel, do some traveling. Yeah, the Berkshires. Though I do want to visit the Berkshires. I have a friend in Great Barrington, and she says come out. I'm like, I have to go. I just found out that Great Barrington is not as far away as I thought it was. Learn something new every day. Oh shoot, but there was something I was gonna say that I was going toward, and I can't remember now. I lost it. Hold on, let me look through these comments and see if anything triggers that in my brain. Looking back through here. Oh, yes, travel. And maybe I've talked about it before, but have you noticed that a lot of people are talking about, oh, so many more delays, so many more cancellations. Oh, and it's so hard to travel. And look at all these lines and everything is so much harder. And I know a lot of people want to say, oh, that's because of now you took away the mask mandates and pilots and everybody are getting sicker. All these excuses are happening. And because people got fired because of mandates. But I have heard the belief that traveling is getting more difficult intentionally so that people give up and say, you know what? It's not worth it. I'm just going to stay home, which is exactly what the WEF wants. They want traveling to just be a thing of the elites. So yeah, when you said that just made me think about that. And I mentioned it multiple times, but please go follow Katie Hopkins on Instagram. She's been really great at talking about how that ties into a purposeful thing, making travel more difficult so that they can keep us from traveling. And eventually she believes that we're going to lose our right to travel. I mean, because we're already starting, like California is losing their ability to get a gas powered car in 2035. So she thinks it's a slow slide. It's very interesting. And she talked about how she believes the energy crisis is to bring about a certain dependency on the government, which then allows them to start taking away more and more rights. So really interesting. I know she's a very controversial figure, but go see what she's talking about. She's not what you think she is if you don't like her. She's something very different than the way she's presented. Oh, Sammy Chica flew out from to Vegas for this event. Wow, that's cool. Okay, so there's some international representation happening at that convention. The Berkshires look like upstate, but way different people. Okay, because upstate is more red, right? And Berkshires isn't. Is that what it is? The Berkshires. Oregon has some video gambling terminals everywhere. The whole state is casino. Walk in any restaurant and bar and gamble. That's crazy. Oh, is that a new thing? That's weird. Can't picture that. There should be a hex convention down in Antarctica. Break that off limits place up and invest in natural resource. I am all for that. That I agree with you on. In Oregon, more gentlemen's club per capita with video lottery inside. Ooh, Oregon's a weird place. No offense. I mean, I hear that Eastern can get pretty cool and normal, but I hear Westerns can be kind of odd, even though it's beautiful. Okay, so it's a 20-year thing. And pot shops. Okay. Keep Portland weird. I saw that online. It was a guy in a kilt, and I think he was riding a unicycle while playing the bagpipes in a Darth Vader mask, and he was going around in circles in front of a Keep Portland Weird mural. So that's what I think of when I think of Oregon. I've never been either. I've never been to the West Coast. Farthest west I've ever been, not for lack of want. I mean, I want to, but hasn't happened yet, is Tennessee. That's the farthest west that I've been in Memphis because I missed a flight to Nashville and flew into Memphis and drove to Nashville. So that's the farthest west. How come I'm not going to Vegas? A lot of reasons. I have some circumstances tying me here to at the moment. But if it wasn't for that, financially, yeah, is more the reason. But yeah. So it's multifaceted. Maybe one day we could get out to some fun event. So, gas attendants pump illegal to pump yourself, like in Jersey. Oh, and there's no sales tax out there. Interesting. No arrest for drug possessions of any kind. I feel like most of the United States, though, is moving toward that because I feel like drugs have become, unless it's only certain drugs, decriminalized in New York also. San Francisco, I heard, has a human waste problem. Portland was a cesspool, but Seaside was gorgeous. I've heard a lot of things about those West Coast cities being cesspools, especially San Francisco. Isn't there like a human waste map in San Francisco so that you can dodge it? Yeah. So, alrighty. I guess I'm trying to figure out if I should wrap it up here. I'm starting to fade. Sorry, I'm looking at myself now because I'm like, you know how the camera's making me look funky and this is not a flattering shirt. Okay, yes, there's a map of all the human feces in San Francisco. Isn't San Francisco Nancy Pelosi's city? Let's see. Yeah, a city-run poop patrol on top of that. Can you imagine human feces everywhere? I mean, I know they say New York is getting to be a little problematic, but it is not at the level of some of these other cities. That's why I say, like, New York is not great at the moment. It's having a lot of issues, but it's still way better off than a lot of other cities. I just choose not to step foot there at the moment. But like a few years ago, I was able to be in New York City like by myself at any time of night and always felt safe. And then now things have just completely changed rapidly. But like that's what New York was. Okay, there was bad times in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but it had gotten to a place where it was really safe and really wonderful. And I had said to someone I know who knew the bad New York, what it was like and lived through that. And I'm like, I'm young. All I know is the good New York. So this is really strange to see it slipping the other way. But like I said, I still am. It's still good that it's nice that it's better off than some other cities. But still, this is such a drastic change for a lot of us. Get out of the big cities. Well, I'm not technically in the big city, right? Yep, shout out. I love my home state. One can really get up and broke in Portland in a day. Yeah, it sure sounds like. It sounds like they hit you from everything, from adult entertainment to gambling to drugs. Portland is just there to rip you to pieces, to just shred you. I was gonna quote Hellraiser. Isn't there a Hellraiser quote in there? I don't know. Yep, beans, bullets, and badasses. Oats. I can't eat oats. Heard it's always sunny in Philadelphia. I heard if you step onto the wrong street in Philadelphia, you get shot. Oats, beans, bullets, and badasses. There we go. Let's just cut out the oats part, though. Because oats don't like me. They give me hives. So, all right, guys. I think I'll wrap it up there. But it's been fun chatting with you all. Got to be up early tomorrow morning. Early mornings on Sundays. I know I do this on Saturday nights, and then I have to be up early on Sundays. So that's always kind of a bummer, but that's why I gotta figure something else out than working for yourself. But we will. I guess I don't know, man. It's hard. It's because you get spoiled. So when I'm trying to figure out remote work and all this stuff I could do, I'm like, I've gotten so spoiled that everything sounds unappealing. But I guess I'll have to figure it out. What choice do I have? Oats or burpees? Well, I guess burpees, the exercise is going to build muscle. So I guess I'll take the muscle building over the hives. Um, where's the Battlestar Galactica? What is the saying? Beats, Bears, and Battlestar Galactica? I don't know. I don't watch The Office. I really have to watch Battlestar. It's my dad's favorite TV show, and he's told me how amazing it is. And Trisha Helfer is actually an alum of the acting studio I belong to. So it was so fun because one time after class, we watched the opening scene from Battlestar where she walks out in the red dress and that whole thing happens with that meeting. And it was cool because she was like, my teacher was explaining certain things about that and her career and like certain things about her technique. And it was pretty cool to be able to break down Battlestar from that perspective with her teacher. But I really need to watch that show. So it's usually Friday nights. No, Friday nights was the prepping stream that I wanted to start doing. But no, this is typically Saturday night. Let's see. Respect. Yeah, I gotta build some more muscle. Or I'm trying. Actually, I do have a fair amount of muscle. It's just covered under a layer of everything else. So I'm like, that just needs to reveal itself. So I'm eating carnivore. But yeah, this camera is not flattering. I'm like, I want to hide from it. Been looking for the curvature of the earth since 2014, but have yet to find it. Not even at the beach in San Diego. I just think we can't see it. But I'm not gonna start a whole debate. I believe it's there, but okay. Because if it's I'll leave it be. But it's been fun, John. Preaching tomorrow? No, not preaching tomorrow. Just working, which I will acknowledge. I shouldn't, but it depends what day you believe the Sabbath is. But no, I acknowledge that working on the Sabbath is a no-no. I just got myself into a situation. But I also believe Sabbath Saturday. So let's see. This chat, I know I say that I have to go to bed, but I'm like, the chat is hopping. I just keep wanting to read it. Traveling isn't very exciting. The whole airport and Uber and hotel process. I don't know. I like the adventure of it, but I haven't had a chance to do that in a long time. And I've never been to Vegas. Allergic to gambling atmosphere. It's interesting. Let me tell you, I always wanted to go to a casino. It always looked like fun to me. And I walked into the Yonkers Raceway Casino and because they ended up building a whole video casino there with Yonkers Raceway. And it was like one of the most depressing things I walked into. And I know some people will be like, well, you weren't at the right one. But I'm like, I didn't like it. It felt just weird and depressing. And after that, I'm like, you know what? I don't think I like casinos. Though I am curious about Mohegan Sun. I want to see it because I've heard it has one of the biggest planetariums in the Northeast or something. So, I mean, for the style, for the architecture of it, I'm curious about, but the whole gambling thing, it's just depressing to walk into a casino. When you do Vegas, you're going to go all out. You see, that's not my scene. So if I were to do Vegas, I think I would hit up some of the museums. Isn't Front Sight out there? But I would want to see the Museum of Neon. If Hookers for Jesus was doing an event out there, I'd want to see that. I would want to go to Area 51. I want to see the Hoover Dam. So those are more the type of things I want to see in Vegas. I guess, is there shows to see in Vegas that aren't strippers? Then I would want to see that. Like the Vegas, showgirls with the feathers and everything. Is that a thing? How people come to New York and see Broadway? Is that what people do in Vegas? What? I want the classic experience. I don't yeah, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas is not my scene. You were at the right one. Be thankful you were turned off so much. Oh gosh, yeah, there was just like, oof, such a turn off. It's like I don't know, it just seemed like it would be fun to play a slot machine, but yeah, I did not like that vibe. I had wanted to see a horse race, but I just wanted to go home after that. But I have been to Saratoga Springs, and that is gorgeous, just for like the whole like 1920s vibe, and the fountains that have like the legit springs coming up from it because it's Saratoga Springs. That was a cool experience. The track, but there is a vibe. There's this depressing vibe to come out of anywhere that gambling happens. But from the history of it, of the Saratoga racetrack, I thought it was amazing. But ooh, Yonkers Raceway, man, depressing. Uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the eyes. No one knows what this means, and I'm ticked by it. Sorry, y'all can't talk about it. I don't know. I don't know what that means. It reminds me of 2 by 2 hands of blue. Anyone know what that means? Oh, Hookers for Jesus. It is a ministry of former prostitute, uh, became a Christian, and then she started rescuing people out of sex trafficking. And that's the name of the ministry, Hookers for Jesus. So if anyone wants an amazing organization to donate to, like, this is my go-to. I love Hookers for Jesus and the work that they do, because they don't just rescue people out of trafficking and say, here, you're on your own, we'll help you. Like, they actually made a safe house that has 24/7 security, and that people can get therapy and just all these type of, they can learn work skills. They give them clothes to go for job interviews and everything. Like, they really set them up to be able to stand on their own 2 feet so that they don't go back into that situation. So they really do a lot of work and do a lot of education on trafficking. um yeah, thank you for being here. I can't remember, have I Have I well, I've definitely seen you in the comments. I can't remember if I've seen you in a live chat or if this is your first live chat. So welcome, and I'm glad you did come in. If this was your first, thank you for being here and for engaging and discussing with me, even though we have different views, for presenting your side of it. I appreciate that. Um, okay, all casinos are the same. Gotcha. You just have more makeup on. I thought you were referring to hookers for a moment. I was like, what? Let me catch up. Somebody speaking about strippers. I guess I did, but no. Then I started talking about hookers. Hookers for Jesus. Um, Sorry, I just want to catch up. Vegas Cajun food. That sounds good. Oh, Madame Tussauds. Yeah, like, I'd want to see some of those concerts that happen, like those residencies. Shania Twain residency is something I would love to see. Does Reba do a residency? Um, Oh gosh, yeah, if you ever have a chance to see Annie Lobert from Hookers for Jesus speak somewhere, like, if you go to the website, it should show her speaking engagements. She's really amazing. It's really worth going and seeing her speak. Um, you've been to Vegas once, but left your wallet on the plane, so couldn't get into anywhere anyway. What happens in Vegas? Still not sure. Well, at least you didn't gamble your whole wallet away. Um, Hollywood wasn't very exciting. The boulevard itself is all patched up as if they don't make enough money to pave it brand new. I've heard Los Angeles is a little sketchy, especially Hollywood. I have a friend that lives in Hollywood, and he told me, he's like, listen, if you were to visit, I would not feel comfortable with you staying in Hollywood because it's sketchy and not safe. He's like, it'd be better to be elsewhere. Um, Hookers are legal in Vegas or something. No, I think Vegas it's illegal, but everywhere else in Nevada it's legal. But yet, I guess they still get arrested in Vegas, but they still walk the and find customers. There's a great documentary that you can buy on Amazon for very cheap. To buy a digital copy on Amazon. And it's called Hookers Saved on the Street. And Annie Lobert actually walks around Vegas, and she goes and she says, look, she'll walk through the casino and says, I could tell it was working. This is a working girl. This isn't, there's certain tells that you could tell from people. And it's really interesting. It was cool that she explained that side of Vegas. And I guess that's what they do. They'll go out into these casinos and these places and find the girls that are working, and they'll give them like a gift bag of just these items to show, look, we care about you. And it'll be like, here, take down your number, pretend it's a client's number, but it's our number if you ever need help. So it's pretty awesome what they do. Bet there's no hot stripper named Turpentine. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's name was Turpentine and they have no clue what turpentine is, but they're like, that sounds cool. Oh, you were on a roll tonight, Mr. Okel. Thank you so much. So nice of you. Thank you. It's a super sticker, but it's so like in the chat, is there actually like an image, like a picture with the super sticker? Because here it just displays like that. I guess I'll have to go into the replay and look, but thank you. Let me see. Now I'm sure if it's legal outside Vegas, there are plenty working inside. Those rules don't work. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely legal in Nevada. It's just illegal in Vegas, but people work anyway because of the tourism. They make so much money. I'd rather spend the same amount of money taking some lady on a date or whatnot, even if anything comes out of it. That makes me happy to hear. You know, it's besides, you know, the idea that it's sketchy. Why wouldn't you want a connection with a human that you know that you can take out and go to dinner and continue to see? But it's also it's exploitation. You know, it's objectifying when people do that, and you know, so there's a lot of ethical considerations with it. Even though because people like to say, oh no, they're making that choice, they're supporting their family, you know, but a lot of women, they don't get to keep that money. They have to give it to a pimp. So somebody else is taking that money. They're working for somebody else. So it's trafficking. People don't realize it, that they're supporting trafficking, even in situations they think are illegal. Even stripping. Stripping is like the gateway to trafficking. A lot of people get trafficked out of there. And these are things, yeah, I just learned from Annie Lobert in her ministry. Hey, X-Mix. Oh, good night, David Lee. Okay. See, I keep saying I'm going, and then I keep getting caught up chatting with you guys. I'm enjoying chatting, but I've hit the 3-hour mark, so I keep typing, so I keep reading the chat. That's so I stay in. But you know, with the fact that I want to be more consistent, and I keep talking about it, but I hope, you know, that it happens that I have the time and ability to do that soon. I do want to be more consistent with YouTube. And that I try to have a specific topic to talk about with high strangeness, but I also love this. So I'm like, maybe I just need to do one chat a week that's just dedicated to us going back and forth and talking to whatever, you know, that's outside of, I mean, we could talk about high strangeness, but you know, there'll still be high strangeness with its topic, but there'll be a set day a week where we just chit chat like this too, because I like it. Finesse, Ash, are you willing to venture from a woman's perspective what it's like comparing the difference between long-term and short-term thinking? Not expecting you to speak for all women. Short-term and long-term thinking in what regard? Into like financial planning or in a certain topic or in general? Because to me, my brain isn't grasping at the moment because it seems too broad. There's so many things you can apply to long-term and short-term thinking at the moment. Yeah, everybody keeps asking questions. Are y'all planning to keep me honest? That means you like being here in this chat and chatting with me. Oh, thank you. That's really kind of you. And I'm not saying this just say, look how great a human I am, but I do send a portion of everything I get to them. So 3 hours without a break shouldn't be getting paid. Well, no, everybody's been awesome and generous. So thank you guys. I appreciate that. YouTube should pay me, but you know what? I probably say things that they don't like, or I say too many vague things that they don't like. You know, eventually I would get myself in trouble with them. Oh, is one easier than the other? You know, I don't think so. I think it truly, like you said, it doesn't speak for all women, but I think it does come down to person per person, because you see both men and women struggle with long term thinking in certain regards. Like you see people that are totally blowing all their money all the time, male and female, and that no one can think of the future. And on both sides. So I don't think there's a big difference in terms of long-term and short-term thinking in men and women. Yes, men and women think in different ways and approach things differently, but I think um in that regard, I think women and men place the same amount of value on long-term thinking, just maybe approach it in different ways. Men tend to be the providers and women tend to be nurturers, so maybe there's different. And I know that's just the generalization, but maybe men are going to think more about their financial long-term plans, and then women are going to think more specific, things about their family in the long term. I mean, that's why men and women make such a good team together. But I don't know. I don't even. I'm not quite sure how to approach that, but I don't think so. I think it really just comes down to person, because you see men and women just approaching that in not in ways that don't not necessarily align with gender. Just both people are all over the place. I think that you know what I think that comes down to. I think that comes down to how you're raised and what your family places value on in the long term and short term. So I really think that is a instead of nature, I think that's more of a nurture thing. So if you were to say if there's a difference in men and women thinking long term and short term, that would be nature. But I think it's nurture. I think it's what you grow up with. Um, that the long term thinking is harder than short term thinking. No, I think, I don't, at least for women, I don't think one is harder than the other. Because I know there's a lot of women that are constantly thinking about the future and plans for the future and financial things. Sometimes I know a lot of women that think about it more than their husbands do. So I don't think that's nature. I think that's nurture. I think that's what you've grown up with. I think that's how you've been trained as a child, as you've become an adult. I think that is nurture. Extraterrestrial life, colloquially referred to as alien life, is life that may occur outside Earth and which did not originate on Earth. Oh, okay. You're just copying me from Wikipedia. I'm like, what is this in regards to? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Extraterrestrials. ET. Where's ET? Hello, ET. Grab a coffee, gonna ask some questions. Gosh, guys, I'm trying to go to bed. Accept you. We accept you and love you, just like everybody else here. I do not think YouTube likes your cankles. That's because I don't got none. I have a real ankle. No offense to the people that have cankles. My foot and calf are differentiated. That's a hard one because both genders are afflicted by the immediate gratification. Yes, 100%. So that's why, like I said, I think it's nurture. I think it's how you're raised and the values that you were set up with. And that's what changes how you approach the long term and short term. Now look up Seymour. Wiki. Are we going to get into a debate about Wiki, whether it's a good source or not? No, like they do in schools. But let me read it anyway. An unidentified flying object is any perceived aerial phenomenon that cannot be immediately identified or explained. Yes, I agree with that. Wikipedia. Is a cankle an ankle that presents the entire girth of the Yankee Candle jar? I mean, come on, where's the line? It's true. I think the line is where it becomes differentiated, kind of like an hourglass shape. How, some women have an hourglass shape and some don't. I think the cankle, whether you have the differentiation in shape from your calf to your foot, and no offense who does have cankles, because everybody's built different. One of my thoughts on puppies: I don't want to take care of a puppy, so if I adopt a dog, it's going to be an adult. Back to that. Y'all, you are into some weird stuff, hex trafficker. Just trolling. I know where you were going with that. You're cracking me up, because initially I'm like, what is going on here? Stay away from girls, then hex, they lick ducks. Not like duck, but I would like ducks. I would love to have pet ducks. Oh, and have you ever tried duck eggs? Really good and more nutritional. And it was kind of freaky because it's like you almost don't want to try it, but then when you try it, like, oh, and ducks are easier to raise and they have better nutrition in their eggs, and they're like, and ducks are hardier. That's just a side thing. I almost came home with ducks once. Shout out to all those who watch the replay. Hope your day is well. Yes, shout out to the replay. And if you want to know why we are getting kind of insane at the moment, if you can click the live chat button and you will be able to see the live chat and see how we're going haywire. Quack quack. What's the difference between duck eggs and chicken eggs with taste? More flavor, and not necessarily that it's a different flavor. It's just a more flavorful. Like if you have organic food, the organic food always has more flavor than the conventionally grown food, right? Like especially potatoes. Sometimes potatoes taste like dirt, taste like nothing if they're conventionally grown, but oh my gosh, they have so much flavor if they're organic. That's what I feel like duck eggs do. They have more flavor. It's not like a huge burst of flavor, but you can definitely taste more flavor than a chicken egg. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Because I was about to say, yeah, because I didn't throw you out with the talking about the cankle fetish. No, I'm teasing. I know you were just playing around. Full flavor, yes. I guess it's like beer and light beer. I don't know. I don't drink beer. You can buy them at the store. Actually, I see them at a lot of stores around here. I see them at health food stores, but I was at a store that I saw it where I didn't expect to see it, but now I can't remember where it was. But yeah, definitely see them appearing in a lot more stores around here. Oh, it was in a health food store. But like the natural markets, I see a lot more of them in. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you guys have succeeded. Like you got me in here another 10 minutes. Right? Yeah, now it's 3:10. 3 minutes, 10. No, 3 hours, 10 minutes. See, I can't. I'm fading. I gotta wake up early, man. And I still want to watch an episode of Ted Lasso in bed because that is the best place to watch TV. But you got to mount your TV in the right way because if you're watching like this, then it's not comfortable. So it was suggested that I change the mount or change the positioning of my TV, but I said no, I won't be able to move my neck when I wake up the next morning. Do I like raw garlic? Because I can eat. I've never tried eating raw garlic. I haven't. But I like garlic. I do. We are going down the duck hole. Isn't a duck hole called a cloaca? Or is that just in frogs? Sorry. Watch it together, all of us. Watch what? The replay? Oh, Ted Lasso? Yeah. I love Ted Lasso, man. I could go on and on about Ted Lasso. Too bad I left my Ted Lasso keychain in the other room. Then I'd be showing you my little Rebecca Welton. Yeah, that is like my obsession show. My friend and I totally spiraled about Ted Lasso all last summer, just leaving like long voice notes to each other about it, just completely freaking out about it and dissecting it. Yep, believe. There's the duck hole. We should start calling these rabbit holes. We should stop in high strangeness. We should never call it a rabbit hole again. We should just always call it a duck hole. That should be like the signature, like high strangeness thing. Going down the duck hole and have t-shirts made with ducks in a hole. That would be funny. Not that anyone would want to wear high strangeness merch, but I would wear a duck hole shirt. Oh gosh. Am I getting sleepy where it's like slab happy? You have 2 ducks. The dogs always find the eggs first. Oh, you have ducks. And the dogs eat it. So, or they just happen to like find it like an Easter egg hunt. Oh no. I was at a natural food store. They had a ton. I see a ton around here. Maybe it's a regional thing. I find it odd that no, you know what? It's a supply chain thing. They say, so it could be because I, live outside New York City that our supply chain I think it's undeniable, is drying up. We're having supply chain issues, and the last place that you see it is around some major cities. Do you live near a major city, Bit Finesse? Um, because I've heard that other places in the country, if you're in the US, supplies of a lot of things are drying up. Here, we just don't see a lot of it because, for whatever reasons, maybe because it's such a moneymaker for different companies, they keep the chain going to these areas. Ever tried duck itself? I have. I've had duck tacos and I do like it, but then it makes me sad because I like ducks. You'll start checking the duck course? Duck flag? Are you trying to is this a game? Is this yeah, you'll start checking the ducks or try to get the eggs first? You're gonna go down the duck hole? I'm getting slap happy. Isn't that what they call it when you're tired? But yeah, duck does taste really good. I think a turducken would be good. Cover your ears, Brian. Did they have speckles? I have access to all. You probably have access to all city. Get the real bird's eye view. Not liking what I'm seeing. Oh, so you're seeing it. What you're seeing is significant enough to make you go, something's not good. Okay. I can't. I know. I think they didn't. They did not. The ones I bought didn't have speckles. Do you mean like the Vietnam feather eggs? Oh, I think I've seen those Vietnam eggs. They something starts with the B. No, no. I'm talking like real eggs in a carton, like you would get chicken eggs, but they sell it like duck eggs. You'd wear Strangeness duck hole merch? Oh gosh, man, that would be fun to find a designer that could really do some insane duck hole design for High Strangeness. Gosh. Well, thank you for saying you'd wear it, but I'm sure the shipping to Australia would be insane. By the way, speaking of Australia, one of my favorite singers is an Australian, Casey Chambers. Wow. One of those artists that whenever she's in New York, I have to go see her. I don't know how many times I've seen her, 6, 7 times. No clue. But I'm always at a Casey Chambers show. So freaking good. But I'll stop going in circles about Casey Chambers. Are you? Okay, because you know what? Just for fun, I was just going around Fiverr looking at graphic design. Because I'm like, maybe I could find a logo. And I was saving stuff for when I have the ability to go and hire somebody to do it. But I saw some really cool like art people like for reasonable prices. I'm like, but like really wild art that is like right up my alley. Like I like ridiculous art. And I favorited them, but now I'm wondering if I can get one of them to design duck hole with like High Strangeness on it. Um that would be a lot of fun. I would get a kick out of wearing something that says duck hole. I mean, is that like egotistical of me? But I just think I like stuff that makes me laugh, and that would make me laugh. And it's cool that you guys would be down for it too. Yeah, shout out to Australia. That's like one of my dream places to go. Oh, my friend is going in a couple of weeks. She's going to I think she's going to Brisbane, or is it Melbourne? I think Brisbane. No, Melbourne. Oh man, lucky her. Oh, you'll pick it up? You mean you'll go down the duck hole, the wormhole that leads to my basement, and then you'll come out the duck hole in my basement? You'll pick it up? Local pickup? Um, or did I miss the joke? Oh, the golf. Okay, there. My dad wanted me to learn golf. I still haven't done it. I'm just not a sportsy person. But one day I will. One day I'll do it because he'd like me to. But I do love going to batting cages. I did part of my senior year to save money at WCC, and it's near a place called Sport Time in Elmsford. So I'd go during my lunch breaks and I'd go in the batting cages. And then one day I grabbed it in the wrong way. That the force of like I had it in my I guess I got my nail into my palm so that when I hit the ball, the force of the ball drove my nail into my palm and cut my hand. So I had to go to class with the cut hand. But that was what I used to do in my lunch breaks. Can you tell I didn't like being on campus? Balut, that's it. You have balut in the Philippines. So strange. Never again. Look it up. Yeah, right. It's like an embryo in there, but it's pretty darn developed. But I guess because it's so young, its bones are actually cartilage, and so it's soft enough to eat. And you eat the hard boiled egg with the giant embryo in it. Yeah. Oof. Yeah. No. 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 I mean, I'm not gonna knock other cultures' thing, but it's just not my thing. And I'm an adventurous eater. I love trying different things. If it wasn't for my food allergies, I would totally be in all different places trying all different things. Maybe that's a good thing though for the scale. But I think I would draw the line here. And with like brains, I wouldn't do that. Inside jokes, so inside the duck only for those watching the specific video replay. Yeah. Yes, thank you so much for coining it. Thank you. Okay, sorry, I already lost track of who and I didn't give proper credit. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for coining duck hole because you put a duck in a hole and then I just lost my mind. um there is a podcast with a girl who covers all the bills and laws that are being passed. She just watches Congress. She uses the golf swing sound for vanity. And it's hilarious because she gets frustrated, started and swears a ton. It's adorable. Oh, that's funny. That's a good way to cover it. But you see, good for her and good for the people that like watch things and break it down. But I don't like politics. I don't like the government, so I don't even want to watch them. And it's all theater anyway, so I don't like to waste my time. Not saying she's wasting her time. She's doing a service to everybody, but I'm glad that people are breaking it down for other people. Okay, so I'll have to look into that. Congressional dish. Had stopped listening years ago. Congress makes me too needlessly upset. Oh yeah, oof, all those people. I'm about to say something hostile, but I won't. How about make 10 t-shirts of each duck hole version, sell them for $100 a piece? Oh gosh, like. Oh, I just like sold sold the shirt on eBay for $100. It's gonna go to paying my car warranty, but but it was a vintage tee that it was garbage tee. It was yeah, it was pretty great, but like I wasn't gonna wear it, so vintage garbage. The band. Not saying that it was a garbagey shirt. What's her channel? Congressional Dish, right? That's the channel? Okay. Oh, you got it. Alrighty. What's ahem? You will if I sign it. You guys are funny. I should send out my old Christmas card to you guys. With me as Randy Quaid from what's it called? Not A Christmas Story, Christmas Vacation. And I'm like, how am I gonna top it this year? And now I just feel silly sending out a Christmas card myself, but just for fun, I wanted to do that. You know, people send their whole family. I wanted to put myself, you know, with the shitters full recreation, and I did that, and I sent it out as a Christmas card. Everybody got a kick out of it. And then the last year I was thinking, well, how am I going to make it better? Or earlier this year, I'm like, well, why don't I do one of those Soviet jokes where, you know, what is that Eastern European wearing the tracksuit, the Adidas and everything, with the Ushenka, is that what it's called? Or is that, no, I don't know. Now I'm more curious if I'm mixing up Defiance languages with Russian. But I'm like, yeah, do that and make some sort of Soviet joke. You remember how there used to be jokes on the internet in Soviet Russia, car drive you? You know, I was thinking, oh, that would be, maybe I could do that, but then this whole Russia-Ukraine thing happened. I'm like, I can't do that. People will burn down my house if I make any jokes. So, a slug or two. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, the batting cages. I had fun in those batting cages. What is your view of a person that does not wash his cat or detail it every day? I guess you mean car, right? Okay. I hope this isn't an innuendo. I like cars and I like to keep them nice, but and if I could, I would detail it once a year. I don't have that ability to. So my car interior is not as pretty as I would like it to be. But I believe everybody should keep their cars nice if they can and not beat up their cars. Somebody backed into my car. It's so freaking annoying because I have a high deductible, so I can't put it through insurance. I wasn't even in it. All of a sudden, I got out to my car, and then there's a dent in the hatchback of my trunk. And then now I got to pay out of pocket to fix it. It's obnoxious. They didn't even leave their number. Owning a cat every day is just about enough for me. I miss having a cat. But cats are a gamble. My cats acted like dogs. And I'm like, there's no guarantee that I'll get another cat that acts like a dog, because I don't want a cat that acts like a cat. I want the cats that act like dogs. My cats were amazing in that department. And very sweet. So, but I don't want to take care of a cat. I don't want to scoop a litter. My friend actually trained her cat to use the bathroom, the toilet. But I'm like, I don't know if I want to share a toilet with a cat. I don't know. But she's cool with it. Doesn't bother her. You have a 15-year-old BMW 530i, and it's a tank. I love cars that are like tanks. My current SUV is a GMC. And what I love, my current SUV, it's only my second car I've ever had, because I drove my hatchback for a long time. And I still have it because I believe that, cars now, when you are in a time of hyperinflation, cars become a store of value. I believe, in terms of preparedness, it's good to have an extra car, because that car is, it's got low mileage. I've maintained my hatchback really well because, I always stayed on top of that. My grandfather was like a top mechanic. I actually have his awards up there. So, I always understood, because I know the joke that women don't like to change their oil and let your car get into 100,000 miles before you change your oil. But no, I stayed on top of everything. That car has had no issues. It still has no issues. And maybe it's like 70 something thousand miles, 80,000 miles on it. And it's in 07. And when I got my SUV, dealership wanted to give me like $800 for it. It's like, what? No, I'm going to keep this thing. And yeah, so I'm like, why not have an extra car? And I think it ended up now with a car shortage worth more than what the dealership wanted to give it to me for. And so like I said, in terms of preparedness and in terms of hyperinflation, I think it's excellent to keep a second car. And I have a family member who is not able, because of this car shortage, and the price of cars around here are outrageous, besides the fact that we don't have inventory around here when it comes to cars. So now I'm able to lend that to them, and that's the car they're driving. So it's cool. So the SUV that I got from GMC is amazing because it drives like a tank. I wasn't attached to a car. I was going to whoever gives me the best deal on an SUV. And it was like such a blessing that the best deal happened to be the most tank-like car. And I love it. I was going to lease something bigger, but car shortage happened and they wanted an outrageous amount for a lease. And I was like, absolutely not. So I bought this out. Credit to Bit Finesse for bringing the ducks and the Clintrons for bringing the whole duck hole. Oh, rugged vehicle. Yeah. Definitely. I can see the older BMWs being pretty rugged. Used to have a 97 BMW 528i for a while, and it started having all kinds of problems and overheating. Oh, that's interesting. See, I wouldn't have expected that from BMW from the 90s. Because I thought they were still pretty hardy. I feel like you see a lot of them on the road. But the thing with the BMWs and all these foreign cars, for those of us that are in America, there's so much to maintain. Like the parts are so expensive. And that's what sucks. But it's nice that the one you have is pretty solid. So yeah, keep it, because look, 2035, California's saying you're not going to be able to get any more gas-powered vehicles in the state. They want everything to be electric. Thing is, electric vehicles more easy to control and kill switch and everything. So I honestly, at this point, would not get rid of cars. I would just accumulate. I don't mean go out and buy more, but if you get a new car, keep your old one too, if you're able to. Absolutely not. Nope. I like that. And I really like that hatchback. Really needed this night. Oh, well, I'm glad you're having a good time with us, Torin. I'm glad we can make your night a little happier. Oh, you smoking your car, so you're bringing the value down? No, don't do that. Don't make a stinky car. And quit smoking. Just for relativity, I check the oil and coolant level in my motor twice daily, every single day without fail, no matter what. Check your oil and coolant more often than ever, guys. Thanks, love. Yeah, really? Twice a day? Are you kidding? Or are you serious? Because that seems extreme. I don't know. But do you not trust the oil indicators that come on your dash to tell you your oil life? But you know what? I am kind of thrown off by that. But it just seems inconsistent, the oil life with with the amount of miles that it's supposed to last. Like the dealership gives you a certain mileage on your little sticker that they put thing, but the oil life indicator on my car seems to have a longer lifespan than that little sticker. Oh, you have leather. Okay, so it doesn't stink. Maybe my sense of smell is gone. Also, smoke pre-rolls. LOL. Gotcha. But everything else kind of holds it. You know what I mean? Your ceiling's not leather and everything. But you mean that kind of smoke? Gotcha. Listen, anything combustible that goes into your lungs is bad. But it's all right. You do your thing. But don't bring down the value of your car. See, I like preserving cars. It's the silver. Okay, because here everybody likes the black BMWs. I like white SUVs, but I believe that it's stereotypical of my age bracket in my region of my ethnicity. So I'll leave. Yeah, I don't want to be stereotypical. Your 98 Freightliner runs down the road at 176 degrees. Nice. A 2019 Freightliner runs down the road at 210. Now ask yourself, what temperature does boil? I turn older trucks to build better. And you know what? I know I always say everything's intentional, but truly, things are made to break and to have problems so that you get a new car sooner. Because if your car is going to last like a really long time, you're not going to go back and you're not going to buy another one, right? So there you go. Water boil. I forget what temperature water boils at, but they're running at a higher temperature. I don't think that's by mistake. I don't think that's by chance. It works both ways. In Europe, American cars and parts are expensive, plus big engines with gas prices. Come on, yeah. So like then are having American cars kind of a status symbol in a way in Europe? Like, because you can afford the gas and because you can afford the parts and everything. Here, European cars are a status symbol, but I think it's kind of silly because I'm like, drive something because you like it, not because you're trying to make an impression on someone. Yeah, no, at this point, I am not. I will accumulate. I mean, I'd love to get a Pontiac Aztec. Would love to make myself a little Pontiac Aztec fund one day and restore it. But at this point, yeah, I am not selling. Like if I have the ability, like I said, I had wanted a bigger car. And or a pickup. But with the car shortage, it wasn't going to happen, so I had to buy out this lease. But let's say if prices change, or if all of a sudden I have the ability financially to be able to go and get something else bigger, I would not sell the current SUV that I have. I would keep it because of this whole store value inflation issue, and in terms of repairs, and in terms of where the fact that they want to eliminate gas cars, it's going to be gold. So I'm going to hold on to any car that I have. You're still selling your old car for hacks, but they want to take away our gas cars from us. Is there something else you could sell for hacks? How much is your car worth? Is it just an extra car that's not worth a lot? Maybe then, pick up some gigs or something to buy the hex instead of getting rid of your car. They don't have the safety sensors and things that break too often. Yes. My grandfather, the mechanic, he would always say that the more things that you have in your car, the more features, the more things that there are to break. So he was always like wary of that type of thing. So noobs can't use these trucks because they'll shell the motor and fry the pistons. They won't check their equipment consistently. Got to look at this stuff. And where does that come from? The fact that people don't know how to maintain their cars properly. Okay, like I said, I don't do it to that extreme of checking the oil and coolant every day. I do try to stay aware of what's going on in the car, but not to that. But why are people, you know, not doing that? Why are people so clueless, when it comes to their cars? Is it because they got rid of shop class in school? Is this a promotion of consumerism and us constantly spending money so that we destroy things? But like having a basic knowledge, like I'm not going to say I don't have an in-depth knowledge, but I have enough of a knowledge from watching my grandfather work. And watching my mechanic. It was so cool. I had a mechanic at one point that would let me come into the back with him and would show me how things were done, So it's so great to kind of just see how things work. And it's important to have that knowledge because you know how not to destroy your car, like you know what to do to not, but so many people don't care to learn more. They want to stay a noob, and they just want to keep rebuying. But maybe that also comes from the whole leasing culture we have. If you get rid of your car every 3 years, you don't really have to worry about any problems that might happen because they're likely to happen after the 3 years. Don't use the oil life indicator. Machine shops around the world love people go by the idiot light. It's cheap investment, longevity. And because this car's newer for me, because I drove the hatchback that was pretty basic for a long time, I guess that's why I was looking at the oil indicator instead of treating it like I did my other car. But I have to say, I only recently bought this car out. So I kind of, I did take care of it. I was trying to preserve it, but it does, that lease mindset does come in like, oh, it's going to be turned in anyway. But no, now I do definitely need to I need to be even more mindful of things. Designing a motor that runs at normal operating temperatures 2 degrees below boiling is so dumb. When that water boils, your motor is fried and you aren't going anywhere. And because the interesting thing is only 2 degrees. So, okay, because I didn't know the exact boiling point. I forgot. It was, 212. So only 2 degrees because, any factor can bring it up 2 degrees. If you're in extremely hot weather, that can raise the temperature of what's going on in your system, or anything. The car's working a little harder. It's not hard to bring something up 2 degrees. Okay, yeah. So that's concerning. I've never had it explained to me that way. Okay, so in Europe, it's more like status and car freaks. Gotcha. Buying the American cars. Some Mexican forgot who they said ordered the. Okay, I think that's okay. You want to know why I like the Cybertruck? Because it looks like I think it's called the APC in Aliens. Honestly, if it was available and if I had had the cash and my leases up, there would have been a chance I was driving a Cybertruck because of, like I said, it reminds me of Aliens. The safety equipment was invented to protect the people who should be taking the shoelace express. It's rewarding bad behavior. Soon no one will be able to drive. People already can't drive a stick. People have also lost the ability to drive. Like I see a lot of people doing really stupid things. Like I was pulling out of my driveway today and I looked and no one was coming. So I back out and then all of a sudden there's a car squeezing behind me. Like if technically, on a technicality, insurance would have declared that my fault. But this car came out of nowhere and decided to squeeze behind a car that's backing up when there was no room to. Thankfully, I put on the brakes. But I'm like, yeah, it's just this idiot driving that's going on constantly. Like I see so much weird stuff happening. Like I was making a right on red and some person went in front of me and made a right on red the other day. And I'm like, just constant like obnoxiousness. I'm like, what do you think that's gonna accomplish? Like, I don't understand what you think is I don't know. You know what I mean? Just constant stuff. I'm not saying I don't make mistakes. I understand making mistakes, but it's just like over and over and over, I see people doing stupid stuff more than ever. It's like, I don't know if lockdown made people lose their driving skills, but I see constant like insanity now happening with driving. Okay, sorry, I really have to catch up, don't I? Um, Definitely nasty cycle of incompetence I'm seeing with my eyes, and the world is barely being held together by unworthy fasteners. It's unnerving. Yeah, well, everything seems like a thin veneer. Civilization too. Um, You buy the parts yourself online? I used to buy with my grandfather on Rock Auto when I used to buy my own parts. Yeah, and it was cheaper buying your own stuff. And they had good stuff. I remember, like, yeah, nice brands. They would sell Mopar and AC Delco and everything, just according to the cars, my family had at the time. Um, you can't work on new cars. Some of them you can't even check the oil without a computer. Yeah, I've seen that where I saw somebody repair a Mercedes for somebody, but they couldn't reset it. They didn't have the equipment to reset it. That person then had to go take it back to Mercedes and be like, "Can you reset my computer?" Or somebody else did the repair. Wild. 2 degrees. So that means if your auxiliary fan doesn't kick in time, that you're done. No, that's pretty warped. I think that's completely intentional. I one time had an overheat when my fan stopped working. Hmm. On the side of the West Side Highway. Thankfully, it happened right before I got onto the bridge. No mechanics ever invite you in the back? Well, maybe it was just the mechanic situation at the time. It was like an independent mechanic. Like now, though, my current mechanic's pretty cool, but then he was, yeah, independent mechanic. It was kind yeah, it was he worked for somebody else who was kind of running his own minor business. So he thought it was so cool that I was so interested. And he was a big admirer of my grandfather's work. Because like I said, my grandfather was a top mechanic. He was a well-known mechanic. He was the mechanic that all the other mechanics would bring their problems to and concerns when they couldn't figure out what was wrong with the car. So he also was a huge admirer of my grandfather's work, and he would tell me what it was like that he was like the 16-year-old kid changing oil that, and my grandfather was like the guy, that he was like amazed by. So, so he loved the fact that I took an interest. So it was exciting for me to, him to, show somebody. And then he got a kick out of who my grandfather was. I remember my grandfather would watch his work, and he was like so excited that he was like impressing my grandfather with his work. It was cool. These like the fun small town things, but my small town, yeah. What is it? 2.5 square miles with 20,000 people? That kind of small town. That's why I'm buying all these trucks, Torn. There are a ton of them on the road, but I know they're owned by idiots. They won't survive under my care. You're a truck rescuer. That's cool. Torin, that's awesome. You could do your own work. Yeah, for me, like there's certain things I could do, but I rather let somebody else do it. So if something goes wrong, it's covered under their insurance. Detroit even sabotaged Volvo because Volvo wanted to be like Mac and have their own stuff, but they had Detroit make a motor for Volvo, and that's a D13 Detroit. If you straight pipe it, it's grumpy. There's so much interesting things that go on in the auto world, especially with American auto and all the things that happened back in the day, and how where they changed over the factories and sent factories to Mexico. They stay hidden and waiting for a Muslim woman to try to back up and quickly come behind you so you couldn't see them. It's the old insurance trick from Europe. Watch out for them. Oh, shoot. Here, I think they used to do the thing where they would box you in and then hop on the brakes so that you would rear end them and then you would be at fault. Now, this person genuinely was being an idiot. I could tell they weren't trying to do something weird, but I've heard Europe does have a lot of shady stuff that happens with the insurance. You know what? There's so many great channels with the how-tos. I remember my hatchback. I looked up. I was going to. I didn't end up doing it, but I looked up how to change the thermostat in my car. And I'm like, wow, it was amazingly easy. I think I didn't end up having to do that because there was a sensor issue, but I'm like, there's so much how to. That's so I looked up when I had an alternator issue, how to fix the alternator. But unfortunately, this company put the alternator buried in it. Even the mechanics like don't like working on the alternator of that car because of where they buried it. I spend lots of time talking to sons of mechanics, convincing them to be mechanics. I pay my mechanics $250,000 per year, and he's mine. Hands off. Oh, cool. So you have your own private mechanic. Oh, that is so awesome. Mechanics are dying. It's unfortunate because, there's so many like high school boys that love cars and are interested in all that and would love to learn, but it's that thing where they try to put too many kids on the college track who would do well in the trade track. They're not promoting the trades enough is the problem. Anyone else seeing or hearing about a whole lot more car crashes these days? Careless driving or adverse reactions? Not for me to speculate again. I haven't noticed, but I definitely noticed a lot of adverse reactions elsewhere. Oh, but I have heard of some of them. The person ended up having an adverse reaction. I have heard some here and there on Twitter. But around here, I don't feel like I've heard of any more than usual. But I'll have to ask around, while driving. That's interesting. I reset my own stuff. They're Easter eggs. Don't need a computer for most stuff in BMW. Oh, there are Easter eggs in cars? Oh, that's interesting. Shoot, I should go to Diesel School and come work for you. Biffines, where are you? That you have your own private mechanic. That's cool. If you don't mind saying what state you're in, because I only hear about that once in a while around here. It's not super common. Use CarSoft on your older one to reset stuff. CarSoft. Oh, is that? Okay. Oh, you're out of Oklahoma. Oh, that's cool. I heard there's a lot of people that want to move to those states with the way things are going in that country. They feel safe in this country. Things are going safer. Oh my gosh, we're only at 4 hours. I gotta go to bed. Shoot. Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, like if I have something weird going on with my sensor in my hatchback, trying to figure out if that's the mechanic is cool. He just like resets it and doesn't charge me. See, mechanics are very kind around here. So it's nice to have somebody who'll just do that for you and then you just leave. Though I have my grandfather's equipment. I need to just learn how to use his. Oh no, that is not, definitely not happening today. Old diesel Nissan, no turbo in Hawaii. Forklift motor put in a telephone service truck. I have to say, there's a lot of interesting car stuff in Hawaii. I don't know if that's because it's harder to get stuff, overseas and you have to ship it. But from what I've seen online, people are driving some really cool stuff out there. Oh, you try to keep people away? Don't worry, I won't send my New York people to you. Oh, it's amazing how close certain parts of the US are to others. Like, because, when you're on the coast, you feel completely isolated, especially up here in the Northeast. Alrighty. Well, since we're almost at the 4-hour mark, I am going to run. So it was nice chatting with you guys. You all have a good night and talk to you soon. Thanks for sticking it out this whole time. And I had fun with you guys. We got to just do like more chats often, outside of high strangeness. So, all right. You all have a good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the aliens bite. And I'll talk to you all soon because I just realized what time it is. All right. Good night, guys. Bye. It was good chat tonight. It was fun. All righty. All right. Bye. Sorry, I'm fading, as you can see. Like I'm starting to, it's hitting me to sleep.